Football Friday. You want to hear this? We are, if I'm not mistaken, we are like 12 Saturdays away from college football. We're less than 100 days out from the dropping of the banner at Lincoln Financial. Next week is mandatory minicamp. Then after that, it's July 27th or the 21st. I haven't yet determined that on if the Eagles are going to get a chance to show up early to training camp because they've got that Thursday night football game against the Cowboys on NBC. Or, again, if they're going to show up normally on July 27th. That hasn't been really officially released yet. So welcome aboard. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Your supers have been absolutely awesome. They all go to the top first 15 minutes. If you can bang that like button, we'd really appreciate it. I want to do something here, too, before we get going into some football talk. Last night, the NBA had a great night. In a sport that hasn't had a great year, the NBA had a great night. Why? You know what I was doing the majority of the time prior to that third quarter and then the fourth quarter, and Halliburton hit that shot at the end to give the Pacers the win? I wasn't watching NBA Finals. I was watching, wait for it, women's softball. You heard me right. Women's softball. Do you want to hear the ratings that game one with Texas and Texas Tech got? 3 million people watched women's softball in the finals of the World Series for women's softball. 3 million people watched game one. Last night, Texas Tech pushed it to a game tonight. I'll be watching the NHL Stanley Cup Finals game 2 tonight with Edmonton and Florida. That was a heck of a game the other night, 4-3 overtime win by the Oilers. They had to have that win. And then last night, it was a great night because now you got me doing this weekend. Hey, I'm going to check out game 2. The NBA has a shitty product right now. I'm not interested. SGA, all these other guys. I couldn't pick them out in the Philly Mall. If you lined SGA up in a Philly Mall, I couldn't pick him. Then again, I really couldn't pick out Mike Trout. You have an identity crisis in those sports. Guys wear football helmets, and it's got the top 70 TV shows. See, I'll tell you this. I'm a content guy. I'm not a me guy. And what I mean by this, hey, I might want to talk to you about the Miami Hurricanes, or I might want to talk to you about some other shit. But you know what? I talk what you want to talk about. That's what I've learned doing this show. I have learned what you want, not what I want to talk about. You tune on WIP or you tune on The Fanatic. You know what? Those hosts believe that they know what's best for you. Sounds like some people in Washington, D.C. Now, I know just by the response on what you want to talk about. You want to know about your Eagles this year. You want to know about the NFL. You want to know what the Phillies are doing, 3-7 over the last 10. You want to know if you're going to see any kind of baseball in October. I don't know. To me, it's still the same old Phillies. Starting pitching, bullpen, wait for it, exit into postseason. We'll be saying the same shit about Dave Dombrowski next year. Until further notice, that's who you are. Hey, you're going to have spurts where you play well. Again, that's what I'm saying. Wake me up in October. NFL, Eagles. I'll say it one more time to you. Joe Kraus just asked me, hey, man, how's the other show going? I never thought in a million years I would ever make this comment in my life. Dude, there is a ton of shit to talk about in Philly. Tampa, still finding it a little bit. You got to kind of dig a little deeper. Not with the Eagles. No way. You got a ton of topics. You got a ton of content. There is so much going on. Hit the like button. We appreciate you guys. Yeah, but see, Kyle, the Cowboys, they're always something to talk about. You know what you talk about with the Cowboys? Underachieving expectations. Here's the difference. I brought this up on the radio today in Tampa. The Bucs are trying to make and win the NFC South. You know what the Eagles are chasing? The Lombardi Trophy. It is completely different. You know what the Cowboys are doing? They're fighting for respectability. That's what you're fighting for, Lombard. How many teams in the NFL do you think this year have that mentality? That's what separates you right now. Hey, Eagles, this is what separates you. Hold for it. Ready? Well, did we lose too much that we can't contend and repeat as champions? That is a great place to be in. There's only one other time I've been in a situation like that. That was when I was in college. Man, I'm talking about national titles, going undefeated and playing for world championships, or I should say NCAA championships. I wasn't playing for Orange Bowls or Citrus Bowls or shit like that. I was playing for national titles and undefeated. That's what you're doing right now, but it's at the NFL level. Kudos, man. As I said, hit the like button. I am looking forward to next week because after next week, this bitch is over. No more prognosticating. No more breaking this or that down. This is going to come down to, do you have enough? And I mean, in this area, is your 53-man roster set? Do you have enough in the starters? Has the other teams closed the gap? We always know this. There will always be this. There's going to be a team that's going to jump out of nowhere. You know why? The schedule difficulty. The schedule difficulty will tell us. He'll tell us. And then you'll look at that. Here, let me give you an advantage here that the Bills have compared to what the Philadelphia Eagles have. How many people in here believe that the NFC East got better? How many people believe that? You think there's 2 10-win teams in this thing? North? Or do you think there's 3? You think there's 3 10-win plus teams? Eagles, Commanders, and Cowboys. Okay? Is the NFC East better than it was a year ago? Well, I think the Giants got better just by adding that stiff Russell Wilson. I mean, Cowboys, could they get into a position where they win 10 games? Yes. Could the Commanders? Absolutely. Eagles? Right. So you got maybe 3 teams that can win the NFC, not win the, well, depending on what happens injury-wise, right? We always know that injuries will play a factor here. All right, let me ask you this. How many wins do you think how many people believe the Buffalo Bills will have more wins than you this year? Oh, I do by a lot. I do by a lot. I think they're going to have a ton more wins than you. Ton more wins. Okay? Ton more. Maxon goes, probably will. Wait a minute. Of course you do. Well, the Eagles have the 3rd toughest schedule, and the Bills have the 17th toughest schedule. Who do you think is going to have a better record? Let me throw this at you. How many people believe that Tom Brady and the New England Patriots had an advantage for 20 years with all those shitty teams in the AFC East? How many people believe? By the way, right now, Bills are favored over the Eagles at home. You get this. Schedule doesn't matter. So this guy's under the notion that there's a guy in here, and I'm not even going to put his name up because it's such a fucking terrible take. This guy thinks if you play the 5 shittiest teams versus the 5 toughest teams, schedule doesn't matter. It mattered in 23, homie. This is what, Sills, what is this about Trey Hendricks trade rumors? Yeah, Cincinnati's not going to pay his ass. They're not going to trade him. They'd rather trade him to an NFC team. Look at this. There we go. Now we got some smart people here. Unlike RC3, who's a fucking idiot. Brady had the advantage just like Mahomes had the advantage. I do think the AFC West is closing the gap. That's right. I see you saying that. That's right. The West is getting better. Justin Herbert with Jim Harbaugh will be better. Okay? Absolutely. This ain't 23. This ain't 24 either. How you doing? You want to make that comment? This ain't 24. No shit. Don't bring up 24 and being champs if you can't swallow 23. Okay? How you doing? Okay? Let's see here. The Buffalo Bills take advantage of being in a crappy AFC East. They're going to win 14 ball games. Eagles win 11 or 12 ball games with the amount of losses you have, and you get back to the NFC title game. What do you care? What do you care? All right. I want to do this now. So let's take a look at something here. And this is not going to be Big Sills' observations about your roster. How many players do you think you have in the top 5, according to our favorite source, Pro Football Focus? How many people believe this? Sills, do you think the gap in the AFC West is closing? I think it has closed. I don't think they're making the playoffs, the Chiefs. I got the Chargers winning that division. Okay? How you doing? Let's take a look at this. Where's my list? Here we go. How many people believe? Let's see. 1, 2. All right. How many people believe you have the best player, according to Pro Football Focus, in rankings when it comes to positions? 5? Let's see. Jordan Mailata, according to Pro Football Focus, this ain't me. Let's see here. Did I keep these up? Let me go over here. Let me bring these bad puppies up here. Because I'm going to Pro Football Focus, PFF, 2025, best tackles, NFL. Let's take a look at this. Heading into the season. All right. How many people believe you have the best tackle in pro football? You do. It is Jordan Mailata. Pretty good, man. You got Mailata 1. Christian Wirfs is 2. You got Rashawn Slater with the Chargers 3. Trent Williams has slipped to 4 because of injuries. And there's Lane Johnson at 5. That's pretty impressive. Number 1 and number 5. That is your best group. By the way, that's a better group than your wide receivers. Do you understand that? You have the number 1 ranked offensive tackle, and you have the 5th best tackle in Lane Johnson. That's better than both your wideouts. It's the best duo on your team. Okay? Now, and that's about right. I think these other guys have slipped a little bit ahead of Lane, but let's not forget. Let's look at these guys. Lane's ranked as the best right tackle in football here. Jordan's a left, Wirfs is a left, Slater's a left, Trent's a left. Lane's the first rated and number one rated right tackle in football. So you have the number one left tackle and you have the number one right tackle. That's how I look at it. That is fantastic. Congratulations. It's your best duo. Landon Dickerson is a top 5 guy. I said, listen, if you have dudes in the top 5 and how your position ranking is, my opinion, you can move those chess pieces around any way you like. Do I think when I look at Lane, here, let me move up here. And when I look at Lane, this is pretty impressive. So you have the 2 best tackles duo in the NFL. Let's take a look at the guards here. And I happen to agree 1,000%. The guy in Atlanta is the best guard in football, and Chris Lindstrom. Joe Thuney, who is now up in Chicago, is number 2. Had a great year. Quinn Meinerz, Denver Broncos, is 3rd. The kid in Indianapolis is right. He better. But again, and there's Landon sitting there at 5. Here's what they say about Landon. Dickerson has been one of the most well-rounded and consistent interior linemen since the day he stepped on the football field. 24 was his best year yet as he earned a career-high rating, which ranked 8th among guards. His pass protection stands out, with Dickerson placing in the 80% percentile. PFF has blocking grades on true pass sets of his career, which is the best. He had his best year last year. That's really, I think he still has room to get better. Landon Dickerson is a really good football player. Cam Jurgens is 13th. And I think Cam had a great year a year ago. Looking at the centers that are ranked ahead of him, can he be better than he's nowhere near Creed Humphrey. He's nowhere near Tyler Linderbaum in Baltimore. Zach Frazier, now we're starting to get close. McCoy with the Saints, I think I think Kurt Jurgens, you can make the argument from 4 down. Drew Dahlman in Chicago, McGovern with the Bills, Kelly with the Vikings. You could really make the argument that Cam Jurgens, this is what they wrote about him. I like him. By the way, he's a good football player. Hurts, Brown, Milano, Link Dickerson, Jurgens, Saquon, Carter, DeJean. Half our starters, top 10. DeJean's not in the top 5. But thank you for the super. He's not a top 5 corner. He doesn't even play corner. Here are the centers that are ranked ahead of him. That's not true. Do you think that Cooper DeJean is better than Derek Stingley? You're fucking high. Creed Humphrey, Linderbaum are better. But I could make the argument that I would put Cam Jurgens in the top 10 and not have him at 13. So I kind of disagree with that. I think Jurgens is a really great looking player. Okay, I do. So let's go over here again. Let's take a look here. What's the next group up? I like this exercise. Let's look at Hurts and look at quarterbacks and where they have him. I think his rating is awful high, but you can't dismiss the winning. And here's what they wrote about Jalen Hurts at PFF. Jalen Hurts' 2024 campaign, capped by an impressive Super Bowl run, was a return to form after a turbulent 2023 season. Anybody, just like with the Terry McLaurin stuff, nobody thinks Devontae Smith is better than Terry McLaurin. Only people that think that are the people in Philly. In a turbulent 2023 season, because of all the turnovers, Hurts did not play great in 23. End of story. Oh, wait, he played great for the first 10 games. All right. Well, that's not a season. That's not a year. You guys are dissecting and cherry picking. Well, they played great for the first. Yeah, you were just as bad as a team in 23 as you were good as a team at the beginning of the year. Again, flexing. That's fine. You think that. I'm not debating it. I had a Hall of Fame guy and Michael Irvin, and I had a Hall of Fame voter go, Devontae Smith's a number 2. Do you think he's better? No power. More power to you. He's not. It's all good. And here, let me finish. A year earlier, Hurts too often pressed in high leverage moments and struggled under pressure. He gets sacked a lot. But he flipped the script this past season, showing poise and control even when things broke down around him. After a slow start, he found his rhythm and delivered when it mattered most. Over the last 3 seasons, his 91.5 overall ranking ranks 5th among all quarterbacks. Once again, let's listen to the guys that are ranked ahead of him. Okay? Josh Allen's at 4. Allen's 95.4 overall grade over the past 3 seasons ranks him among all quarterbacks at 91.4, and that span is 3rd behind Burrow and Jackson, despite losing his 2 top wide receivers in 2023. Imagine that. You lost both of your 2 wide receivers, and you still won the MVP award. Try that in Philly. One, they weren't anywhere near Devontae and AJ. And Josh Allen lost both his wideouts and then still won the Most Valuable Player award. That's why he's the best player at the position. See what else here. Let's go up to Lamar. I think Lamar's 3rd. Jackson is coming off the best season of his career and the highest graded quarterback campaign in pro football history, finishing 24 with a 94.9 overall rating. The 2-time NFL Most Valuable Player remains the most dynamic player at the position, blending arm elite talent with unmatched rushing ability. The only lingering blemish on the resume, which is second to none, is the postseason record. If Jackson can translate his regular season dominance, which he's been the most dominant player for the last 3 years, into playoff success and capture a Super Bowl, he will be cemented as one of the greatest players at the position in NFL history. That's Pro Football Focus. I don't hear anybody talking like that about Hurts. The greatest of all time. I mean, that's hey, and I'm wrong about him. I mean, get this, the last comment they make. If Jackson continues his regular season dominance, he will cement his place among the NFL's all-time greats. That's quite a comment. Just a great football player. Let's go up to Joe Burrow, who's ranked 2nd. The only knock on Burrow is that he hasn't entered a season in full strength any year he's played. But when he's right, there is nobody in the league better at the position. Burrow's 93.5 passer rating and 95 overall grade in the past 3 seasons and his 51.3 success rate over that span ties Josh Allen for the 2nd most in the league. If the Bengals can field even an average defense, Burrow has a shot of winning the AFC this year. Again, Joe Burrow fails in the fact of where he was drafted. He's in Cincinnati. Kudos to the Eagles on putting their guy in the right position and building a team around a guy. The Eagles are not failing Hurts. All the rest of these other organizations are failing their quarterback. Hit the like button, guys. Supers go to the top. Okay? Okay? Let's go here. So let's go to the next one. Top-rated guy, according to Pro Football Focus, Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes still holds the top spot, but the margin has never been slimmer. His passing grade over the last 2 seasons at 86, a strong, but a step down from the elite level that we saw in 18 and 22. The supporting cast hasn't helped him. As a matter of fact, of all quarterbacks in the National Football League, Patrick Mahomes has the worst supporting cast for the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. What does that tell you? This guy does more with less. That's who he is. This guy took that shitty offense to a Super Bowl. Shitty offense. I mean, nobody on the planet could take that offense. Juju Smith-Schuster. These are quite some comments here. Supporting cast, the worst of any elite quarterback. That said, no one blends poise, playmaking, and postseason performance like Mahomes, which is why he remains the number 1 quarterback on a field. And by the way, every time he steps on the field, Mahomes is the best player in the league at that respected position. Remember something, folks. Hey, by the way, this ain't my assessment. I didn't write these. Joe, this dickhead says I missed his super chat. If we can get it up, I thought we read it already, but we may have missed it. Okay. Like I said, this ain't my assessment. I didn't write this. Josh Allen had 2 top receivers in 23. But still threw the most interceptions, yet you praise him while criticizing. Because, again, nobody in Buffalo can start in Philly the last 3 years. That guy has dog shit in Philly, or in Buffalo. Dude, he does more with less. That's why he won the MVP. There's no Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley or A.J. Brown on that fucking team. What are you looking at? You're changing the agenda. Bro, nobody's going to tell Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes to take the ball out of their hand and give it to somebody else in the huddle. That's not going to happen. Okay? Making excuses. It's not making excuses. It's fact. The facts are, hey, folks, who has a better offense? Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts in talent? I'm giving you the PFF ratings. Who has a better offensive skill set of people? Okay? Who has a better skill set? Come on, man. I'm not debating stupidity conversations. It's a fucking dumb combo. Unreal. So here. Again, that's a pretty good. Here's Jaden Daniels. This is what they say about Jade. As a matter of fact, let me go down here to Justin Herbert. Herbert may be the best regular season quarterback in non-clutch situations. That's a hell of an indictment. His 91 overall grade in the past 3 years ranks 6th. And when excluding playoff performances, his pass grade is better than Patrick Mahomes. In standard game situations outside of late game or high pressure moments, wow, they're taking a huge, they got him ranked 8th. Herbert owns the 2nd highest passing grade in the league. With another year under Jim Harbaugh and improved weapons around him, we'll see if he can get over the hump. I think that's a total taking a shit on him. And I don't think it's wrong. This guy's great in the regular season. He shows up in the postseason, and he's Casper the Ghost. Dude, You don't ever want to hear that shit like that. Hey, you're a great player when it doesn't count. That's basically what they're saying. You're a great player when it doesn't count. Damn, dude. I know he doesn't. You couldn't name me a wide receiver on that football team. I get it. But if you're going to be considered in the room with Patrick Mahomes, you've got to get, or a Josh Allen, you got to get over that. You got to elevate shitty players. You got to make C students into B students. I mean, end of the day, I would never want anybody to write an indictment like that on me. Hey, when it doesn't matter, you're really great. Shit. It's not what I want to hear. Hey, Justin Herbert, you're really spectacular. Okay? Again, look, Sills, I actually think Josh Allen would be better in this offense than Hurts. Of course he would be. He's a better player. He can rush the ball, make the throws. It begs the question if the Eagles make all the offensive moves if they had him. No, they wouldn't, because they wouldn't have to. Let me just say this to you, Trev. If they had Josh Allen in Philadelphia, half your defense would have remained and they would have signed him because they would have lost other players on the offensive side. Why do you think they don't lose players that matter on offense? They're afraid of the quarterback's deficiencies. You can't get rid of players in that offense. That's more of an indictment. But they put him on the field and he wins. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks with great talent around them that doesn't execute that. So you give him his due. Dak Prescott will be the NFC East passing leader. Yeah, but where's that getting me? First round knockout? Josh Allen's considered much better quarterback, but despite having two top receivers, he threw the most interceptions. Last year he had how many interceptions? I don't remember that. Let me see. Let's see what Prince says about the Bills. In his MVP season a year ago, let's take a look at what Josh Allen threw to last year. Let's see what he did. And let's go down here last year when he won the Most Valuable Player Award and see who he was throwing to, Josh. So let's go to the team here and see who the receivers were. He had one guy with 800 yards. Here had another guy with 500 yards, had another guy with 400 yards, had another guy with 370 yards, had another guy with 300 yards, and he won the Most Valuable Player Award. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure what the fuck you're talking about, dude. And last year, he threw for 28 touchdowns and 6 picks. He was the fucking most valuable player with a guy with 800 yards and the rest of them with 400 or 500 yards. And he played great for 6 months. Whatever, guy. It's not even a conversation. Let's see here what they say about Jaden Daniels. Yeah, we read this yesterday. They're crowning him too early? Maybe. Maybe they're crowning him too early. Okay? Once again, it's not about him winning shit right now. It's about who's the better player. This is talking. PFF talks about who the best players at their position are. That's who they're talking about. These are the best players at their positions in the league. Okay? He was talking about 23. I thought you guys just said old news. Oh, I see. It's not old news for him, but it's old news for you. Okay? I see. Well, here, let me show Prince this, what he just put up here. Try this shit on WIP or 97.5, Prince. You'll never get a fucking call in, and they'll exile you forever. At least I enjoy you here. And by the way, I don't talk to anybody. When you say got him, you're lucky you got him. because I don't recognize everybody like that. Sills, the elite Allen receivers, Khalil Shakir, Amari Cooper, who did nothing, Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, correct. That's right, James. Okay? Ethan goes like this. Nobody cares. Well, this is how you're paid. Are you the best player at your position? That is how you're paid. Championships are not how you're paid. Or like see, some of you couldn't get it yesterday. A.J. Brown deserves every cent he gets because he's accomplished shit on the field and they've won. How are these other guys getting paid to accomplish nothing and are higher paid than him? Like, how did CeeDee Lamb get $40 million? What has he done? Targets, money, was paid to him because he had numbers. And again, those are accomplishments. Rankings are nice. Championships are better. Show me a throw Jalen can't make. I showed you that here. Let me give you this. I'll show you something here. Aaron Rodgers a year ago threw the ball 584 times. Show me a throw he can't make. Aaron Rodgers, in a down year for him, completed 368 completions. Hurts didn't throw that many attempts. Did you hear me? Aaron Rodgers, in a down year, on an awful team, had more completions than Hurts had attempts. Show me a throw he can't make. Why did they shut him down? Oh, I know, because Barkley was having a historic year. Okay. By the way, I want to make sure we underscore this. I will never again ever take that dude out of my top 5. I will never in the world take Jalen Hurts out of my top 5. His accomplishments and his resume speak for themselves. He delivers. He's one of the smartest. You know what? Let me show you what I think makes a great quarterback. The great quarterbacks are this. This is what made Brady great. He was the greatest teammate. Brady was the smartest quarterback, most intelligent, and he was the greatest student. Do you know why you can't evaluate a quarterback correctly? You look at athleticism. Aaron Rodgers is by far more talented and more of a gifted athlete than Tom Brady. But is he the best teammate? No. Is he the most intelligent? Maybe. Is he a great student of the game? Maybe. But the one tangible is he's not a great teammate. He doesn't inspire his teammates. That's what makes a great quarterback. Hurts has all 3 of those. That's why Jalen Hurts went in the 2nd round. Because Jalen is a great student of the game. He studies, wants to become better, and he's a great teammate. When you connect and when you check all that off, let me make this. I saw something, and I will say this all the time to you about, and I bring my daughter up all the time with this. Let me bring this up to you about my kid. I saw my kid's college this past year have more talent. They had more All-Americans than anybody that ever seen on GCU. You know what happened to them? They got knocked out in the 1st round. Why? Because they didn't have a leader on that team. They didn't have the leader that was smart. They didn't have the leader that studied the most, that understood what they had to do in lineouts. They didn't have somebody that was a great teammate. If you don't have those 3 things, you can't succeed, especially at that position. That's leadership. Okay? I have no interest in debating this with this guy. I'm not debating when we're talking individual talents. Hurts is nowhere in the room with Burrow and Allen and them guys. Okay? He's a different metric. He's a great quarterback for what they do on that team. I'm not debating it. Use your eyeball test. Okay? When you watch Joe Burrow drop back and throw the ball, and you watch Jalen Hurts throw the ball and run right and take sacks, I don't know, and you throw the ball less than anybody in the league, don't convince me he's a top-flight passer from the pocket when everybody knows he's not. But what he is, he's a leader, he's a great teammate, and he studies his ass off. And he's one of the smartest guys in the league. End of story. And that's why he's winning. Those intangibles are harder to evaluate, whether or not a guy runs a 40 who has a big arm. Joe Burrow can't be in the top 5 with painted nails. Now, there you go. Now, JD's now starting to come into my room here a little bit, and I'm with you. Okay. JD, okay. I shine says a winner. Yeah, well, I think that translates into winner. Great teammate, intelligence, and a student of the game. I think Josh Allen was at his best a year ago because he was smarter a year ago. That's why. Hit the like button here. Let's continue to go down this list here of PFF. Again, you know what PFF is doing? It's ranking the best players. And nobody's ranking these players because they won Super Bowls, which is great. Because this contradicts every fucking thing you think. You think if you won a Super Bowl, you're the best player at your position. You're not. That's not true. Okay? Here, watch this. You're right, Sills. He's in the room with Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl winner. How you doing? Subwit sensitive, bro. We're just trying to, a.k.a. debating. No. You said you wanted a refund. I think you're kidding, though, bud. Hey, Prince, you too, man. I love you here, bro. We're good. Sensitive. It's sports talk. I'm sensitive when I can't pay a bill. Not sports talk. Okay? I mean, you and me, Prince, have a little more to worry about. Hey, dude, I'm with you, man. Hang on, Prince. Bro, sports talk don't get me like what you think. I loved it. PFF does have Hurts 5th. By the way, get this. Yeah, look at this. Hey, kid, you wish. You wish, my friend. I'm mad. Yeah, I'm mad because of a PFF ranking. Hey, you know what? Think about how stupid that is. I'm pissed off of a PFF ranking. Hey, I can't believe he's right. Hey, yeah, that's what I'm pissed off about. Holy cow. I'm going to lose a tremendous amount of sleep tonight over that PFF ranking. Oh, man. Yeah, I got you, brother. We're good, man. It's good. It's a good Friday. Let's have a bunch of laughs here. Man, PFF ain't the metric also. You know what I'm saying here? Let's go to running back. Oh, this is fabulous. No way. Here's the running back. Who's the best running back in the league according to Pro Football Focus? Holy cow, it's Derrick Henry. My God, is that going to make Eagle fans shit? Hold on. The best running back according to Pro Football Focus is not Saquon Barkley. It's Derrick Henry. Let's read first what they say about Barkley. Barkley is the big reason why the Eagles are reigning Super Bowl champions. He earned a 92.7 PFF rushing grade and tallied the most runs of 10-plus yards or more. He also led the NFL with 25.04 rushing, playoffs, and regular season. Barkley is the big reason the Eagles are reigning Super Bowl champions. Funny, I didn't see that line in Jalen Hurts' bio here. Let's see what they say about Derrick Henry. Who is the best back in football? Even at 31, King Henry is deserving of this list number one spot. He led the NFL in PFF rushing grade in 24 with 93.5, winning PFF Best Running Back Award. Henry also boasts the highest PFF rushing grade in a 3-year sample size going back to 2021. He forced the most missed tackles and ripped off the second most 10-yard runs or more, 53, of anybody outside of Barkley. Holy cow. Highest graded running backs. Derrick Henry. Those are great numbers, man. Henry is the best back in football. He is. Barkley had the best year. By far. Not by far. But because of the playoffs, yeah. Had a great year. He's not a better player. How can he be a better player? Opinions? No. Accomplishments. The numbers speak for themselves. How many people believe that Saquon Barkley's had a better career than Derrick Henry in here? How many people believe that? That Saquon Barkley's had a better career? Nobody believes that. Okay, here's Leon. Okay, Leon thinks he had a better career. Let's take a look at Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry. Then we'll do Saquon Barkley. Here's Henry's career. $11.59, $15.40, 2027, $9.37 in 8 games, $15.40, $12.67, $19.21, 17 touchdowns, 17 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns, 13 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns, 16 touchdowns on a shitty Tennessee team. Carries 305, 378, 220, 356, 280, 325 carries. Only Barkley had more carries. Let's take a look at Barkley's career. Saquon Barkley. I just showed you a guy with 11,000 rushing yards. Here, let's Barkley here. Derrick Henry. Saquon Barkley's had a better career. You're out of your fucking minds. This is not even close. 1307, 1003, 34, 550, 1312, 960, 2005. Derrick Henry has 4 years of plus 1,500-yard seasons. Saquon's got one. Saquon's got one. I'm not sure what you're talking about. He's had a better career? How? Dude, hey, look, well, we can, not debating this. One guy's going to be in the top 3 rushing of all time. The other guy won't be. And you heard a Hall of Fame voter yesterday say Barkley's not a Hall of Famer. Get this. I don't care what Barkley did in New York. Well, the voters will. Hurts versus Burrow is like a guy who is a genius and doesn't need to study and get an A. And the dude who studies 80 hours a week to get an A, both are respectable. Hurts puts the work in to keep himself in the room with Joe Burrow, and he elevates guys around him. I'm not okay. I'm okay with that. No, those aren't stats, fuckbag. Those are accomplishments. There's stats to a geek like you sitting at the end of the bar with your buddy on a fantasy night. There are accomplishments to players. Once again, there are accomplishments to players. When a guy rushes for over 10,000, ask Saquon Barkley what he thinks of a guy who rushes for over. So let me ask you this. Who's the one guy that Saquon Barkley admires the most? Barry Sanders. Do you think that Saquon Barkley's had a better career than Barry? Derek's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He never won a Super Bowl. Barry Sanders is one of the top 3 backs in the history of the sport. One of the top 3 guys in the history of the sport. No, I think he did too. Hurts works his ass off to stay in the room. That's what Brady did. That's totally what Brady did. So let's continue here. So let's see how many guys you've had in the top 5. You've had Mulata and Landon, and Jalen. So let's see what we have here with let's go to wide receivers. AJ's number 1. What I love about PFF here, they did not look at Jamar Chase and just automatically make Jamar Chase the number 1 wide receiver. They looked at AJ's impact and how good he is. Get this. Slager says a guy with 1,934 yards last year and 17 touchdown rushes is not a top 5 back. Derrick Henry, top 5 all time. Emmett, Walter, Brown, Barry, if I had to pick a 5th one, probably Eric Dickerson. Emmett, Walter. No, I would take OJ. Top 5 backs in the history of football. There we go. All good. All good here. So just to reiterate, OJ Simpson, you never, hey, listen. Well, I happen to agree. Prime LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, heck of a player. Heck of a player. Could catch the football out of the backfield as well. Absolutely. All right. Hit the like button, guys. I love Eric. And no question about it. If Bo had stayed healthy, Bo Jackson would have absolutely been in that conversation. Marshall Faulk's a great football player, but those would be my you asked me my top 5. All right, so let's continue this. I think this is absolutely great stuff. Because once again, this has nothing to do with championships. This has everything to do with the best players at their respected positions on how. Do you know why PFF is great? Right now, what they did with AJ. Let me do this again with AJ. And let's go down the list here with AJ Brown. Let's talk about here's Jefferson, Triple Crown winner. Chase is 3rd. I'm not saying Brown is 4. Puka Nacua is 5. Lamb is 6. Lamb is 6. Get this. Well, how many people? Why do you think CeeDee Lamb is 6th? One of the truly greatest gifted players in the history of the position is Gale Sayers. Gale Sayers, if those of you who watch Barry Sanders, that was Gale Sayers. Okay? Slot receiver, says Abe. I would say this to you, Abe. I think the reason why he slipped is because Dak was out. Not that Dak was playing great ball. The emergence of Nico Collins has been stunning, and that's because of C.J. Stroud. He's 7th. Tyreek Hill has fallen to 8th because the quarterback's health. Mike Evans is 9th, and Terry McLaurin is 10th. Those are your top 10 wide receivers, according to PFF, and rightfully so. AJ's number 1. Man, that Nico Collins is good. He is totally a great football player. I'm a big fan of his. Let's see here now. So let's go where and see what does the Eagles have the number 1 and number 13th ranked wideout. That's pretty damn good. And a number 5 passer, according to PFF. 5th best quarterback, number 1 receiver, number 13. Don't ever tell me Jalen Hurts doesn't have spectacular talent around him. You got the best tackle tandem in the league, 1 and 5. Best right tackle, best left tackle. You have the 5th best guard in pro football. You have the 1st and 13th best wide receiver, and you have the number 2 best running back in football. I mean, shit, you should win a Super Bowl, shouldn't you? So let's take a look at, let's go to tight end. What do they think of Cam Jurgens? Tight end. These are funny ratings here. So George Kittle's number 1. Kittle has been one of the best tight ends in the game for nearly a decade and was handsomely rewarded by the Niners this offseason with a big contract extension. The NFL's highest graded tight end over the past 2 seasons, Kittle is the most complete player at his position in the league. Okay. Overall grade in 7 different seasons, and he's ranked in the top 3. George Kittle's been that good. Boy. Kittle's been that good. I miss on him. Seals, correct me. Stingley, yes. Stingley is the guy. That's his grandfather. And Darryl Stingley was hit by Tatum, and he was paralyzed. You want to know a story? Jack Tatum told me. Jack, after that exhibition game against the Patriots where he knocked them out, paralyzed them, he sat in the hospital with him for about a week. John Madden sat in the hospital. They had an off week that week, and John Madden sat for about 2 weeks in the hospital with Stingley until he came to consciousness. John Madden was there by his side when he woke up. You know, again, football was different back then. That was an exhibition game. Jack Tatum, the reason he's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame is because he paralyzed the guy. I met him when I was on KMBR 68 and I was doing radio. My old partner, Rod Brooks, laughed at me. It's the only time a guy walked into my studio, and when Jack Tatum walked in, I didn't say 2 words. And Rod Brooks, we used to have a show called Ebony and Ivory. It was really a great radio show. It was way before its time. We were saying all kinds of crap and all kinds of shit on the air. And so Tatum walks in. I wasn't saying much. And Rod goes like this, "Cat got your tongue?" And I'm saying, "Hey, man, it's Jack Tatum. That's Jack Tatum. I wanted to go to Ohio State because of Jack Tatum. the most intimidating football player that's ever lived. Nobody was an intimidator like Jack Tatum. When you saw him on the field, you were afraid. No receiver came across the middle. He would decleat you. Take a look at some of those highlights in the Super Bowl, what he did to Sammy White. Just the most intimidating football player that's ever lived is Jack Tatum. I don't care what me, Joe Green, will say it. When that dude was on the field, nobody wanted to be on the field as a wide receiver with that guy. Like, let me do this. Tatum couldn't play in today's NFL. Once again, has nothing to do with player rankings. Rings have nothing to do with player rankings. Who's the best player at their position? You know, you understand why Pro Football Focus is now the new metric, because pro football guys pretty much run it. There's nothing to do with it. Almost every single position guy that's ranked ahead of your guys, they don't have rings. Deacon Jones, tremendous player. Let's take a look here. Where they got the guy from Arizona third. Mark Andrews is fourth. Laporte in Detroit's a really good-looking player. Hawkinson in Minnesota, sixth. Travis Kelce, seventh. Here's Dallas Goedert. Goddard's PFF rankings dipped the past 2 seasons compared to his first 5 years of his career, but he remains one of the best in the game. Competing for touches in the Eagles' offense, Goddard earned 75.8 PFF rating, tied for 12th. So Dallas Goedert's not going to ever have big numbers in Philly because the quarterback doesn't throw high volume. The high volume targets are to the two wideouts. Dallas Goedert in a different offense would have huge numbers. He'd have Kittle numbers. Not in Philly. As a matter of fact, it'd be in it'd be in Goddard's best career move not to be in the Philadelphia Eagle offense. He's got a ring. He should go to a quarterback that can get him the ball in a passing tight end offense. I mean, he's never going to get a ton of catches. He's never going to have a ton of targets. I mean, my opinion, Dallas Goedert replacing somebody like Travis Kelce in Kansas City next year, if I was KC, I would do that. When Travis Kelce retires and Dallas Goedert becomes a free agent, I would go to Kansas City. And I would play for Mahomes and with Mahomes. Same thing that Wes Welker did. When Brady left New England, where did he go? He went to Peyton Manning. And he ended up getting the same amount of targets. And he ended up getting the same amount of throws thrown to him. He got all his championship rings when he was up in New England. He went and looked for numbers that maybe could get him into Canton. Kittle can't be number one. He doesn't even know the OT rules. Great play. I like that, JD. Thank you for the super. Seals, are you still planning to fly out to Philly week 1? It looks like that's going to be the case with our friends with Morgan and Morgan here. Who's the best DB in the league? We'll get to that, Jeff. I appreciate the super. Here's another one. That's a good look. Got her to the Chargers? Sure. Any place, like here, this is what I would do. If I was Dallas Goedert, I'm not going to a place with 2 big-time wideouts. Why? I've got my championship ring. Shit, I may get 2. So let me do this. Where could I go where I'm going to get a lot of volume passes? Who doesn't have big-time wideouts? I'm not going to Miami. You know? I'm not going to Miami. Where am I going? Okay? Where would I go? Bills. That's a great one too. Atlanta. Yes, sir. Michael Penix turns out to be somebody. Go get your numbers. The Bucks, I don't know. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, now they got Ibuka. Put him at the tight end spot. Baker spreading the ball around, maybe. Yeah, but Buffalo sounds great. Buffalo, Kansas City, Steelers. So you have DK Metcalf and him. Who's the quarterback, though, next year? Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? Jesus, I don't know if I want to play in that role. Bills would be a great – Dallas Goedert, if he has a good year this year, there's going to be a lot of people looking for him. Now, was he going to get $14, $15 million? No. Okay? I do. I think Darrelle Revis is one of the greatest corners in the history of the sport. He had one of the greatest techniques ever. Just great. Dak, I'm not going to Dallas because the priority is going to always be CD because he makes $40 million. That's a pretty good rating for Dallas Goedert, though. You know, what kills you is this. So the Eagles are going to move off of a top 10 player and they're going to tell him to take a pay cut? How does that make sense? The way this Dallas Goedert thing has made no sense. He's a top 10 player. The Birds like him, take a pay cut, and they didn't give him an opportunity at an extension. And I heard John McMullen say there's about a 15% chance or 20% chance that the guy would come back. I'll sit there and tell you this. Shit, man. Top 10. He's a top 10 guy. Man. What a luxury if you're the Philadelphia Eagles where you could just sit around and do shit like this. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm not really all that caring. So we're going to lose the top 10 player. You know what I'm saying? We're going to lose a top 10 guy. And we're going to have to figure it out next year. I don't know. All right, so let's take another look. I love these ratings because they're pretty right. AJ is the best receiver in the game. They rated him. They didn't take Jamar Chase. So let's go here. We're going to get to the defense. So we did receiver, quarterback. Let's take a look at the defensive side and how they see you. Let's look at edge. Edge rushers. And by the way, not one of these guys have rings. This is just rating the best players in the sport at their respective positions. They got Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa, Aiden Hutchinson, Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson, Jared Verse, number 8. They got Will Anderson, number 9, Khalil Mack, 10. He's 33. They got Josh Allen in Jacksonville, Danielle Hunter in Houston, Alex Highsmith in Pittsburgh, 13th. Greg Rousseau from the Buffalo Bills is 14. Jonathan Grenard, Minnesota Vikings, is 15. Brian Burden, 16. Andrew Van Kinkel, Minnesota, is 17. Jalen Phillips, Miami Dolphins, is 18. These are the top edge rushers. And according to PFF, the best players at their respective positions. You can move some of these around. Rashawn Gary, Green Bay Packers, 19. I don't buy this. I am not a fan of this kind of bullshit here. Abdul Carter, New York Giants. I'm not putting him 20. I'm not putting him in the top 32. That's stupid. How do you know this guy can play? That's an absolutely stupid comment to put a rookie in a preseason ranking for NFL guys when you have never seen him play. Them being the highest paid shows why these teams are losers. No, not every team is smart enough to build a good football team. Not every team has a good GM. Not every team has a good head coach. And most notably, not every team has a good owner. That has nothing to do with that. Let's see here. Bradley Chubb, 21. Carl Granderson, New Orleans Saints, 22. Benito from the Denver Broncos is 23. Josh Sweat is 25. Chop Robinson, I like Chop. I thought he'd be good in Philly, 27. They got Nolan Smith, 28th. And this is what they say about Nolan Smith. Smith served as a backup on a loaded Eagles defense during his rookie season in 23, logging just 200. Thank you, Stevie. 203 snaps. In year 2, he became an every down contributor for the 2024 Super Bowl champion team, playing 755 snaps over the entire campaign. Smith graded better against the run than a pass rusher. That's probably why Vic likes him, but still managed to generate 50 pressures, which is great. With Josh Sweat departing for Arizona in free agency, Smith will face increased pressure to lead the Eagles. So they got him ranked 28th. Is Nolan Smith the 28th best edge rusher in the NFL? Probably 25. Something like that. Okay. Probably 25. That's where I would put him. We'll do one more before we take a time out here. Let me see. Defensive tackle. I love these ratings. PFF's been spot on here a little bit. Some of them you can move around. Heading into the 2025 season, the best interior defensive tackles and defensive linemen. Chris Jones, Kansas City, number 1. This is what they say about Jones. What more can you say about Chris Jones? A future first ballot Hall of Famer, was once again the highest graded interior lineman in the National Football League in 2024. That makes it 88.0 plus marks in 7 of his 9 seasons. By far, over the last decade, the best defensive tackle in pro football. Number 2, Dexter Lawrence. Logged only 550 snaps in 24 due to missed games, but he recorded an 89 PFF for the 3rd straight season in a row. And over that time, only Chris Jones ranks higher than Dexter Lawrence. Great player. They got Cam Hayward, number 3. They've got Quinyon Williams, number 4. And they've got Jalen Carter, number 5. Carter's 73.3 overall grade from 24 doesn't jump out, but his 84.4 and 84.6 rush grades in each of the past 2 seasons with 125 total pressures certainly do. He's not a well-rounded player in the run yet, but he's already becoming a game wrecker in pass rush. Let me see if they got Jordan Davis ranked at all. There's Vita Vea at 11. Milton Williams, 14. Poona Ford, that's a new acquisition that the Rams got. They put him 15th. Kobe Turner, 2 interior defensive tackles now in Los Angeles that are ranked high. Seals, you got to show us, Steve. I will. I promise you. I definitely will. He's such a great dog. I love that guy. Let me see here. Zach Allen is 20th. Let me just see here if Jordan Davis is. Here he is. I missed him earlier. He's 28th. Davis earned a single-season PFF grade of 70 for the 3rd straight season. The massive nose tackle actually graded better as a pass rusher than he did as a run defender in 24. Not a lot said there. And they're only ranking 32. So they got him 28th. They got him ranked ahead of Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. And who else? Hey, man, this is awesome. Moro Jomo's on here. Moro Jomo was a good piece of the puzzle for the Eagles' defensive line that helped capture a Super Bowl this past season. Ojomo did not record a sack, but he did log 39 pressures. They got him for a backup role player. They got him ranked as one of the top 32 defensive tackles in the game. That's pretty impressive. I like that. All right. I'm going to take a look at the rest of the defense here. We'll do that. Xander will join us, I believe, at the bottom of the hour. Mark Farzetta will join us at 43, okay? Or 4:30, I should say. At 43, I'm doing rankings. At 4:30, hit the like button. Don't forget, my friends, our good friends at Morgan & Morgan. They are the number one injury law firm in America for the reason that I give you all the time. You know what that is? They win. You know, you can't call yourself number one like the Eagles, right? Unless you win. Hey, I'm number one. Well, you got to win. And that's exactly what they do. They win. Family in Philadelphia or in Pennsylvania, like I said, got a $30 million settlement when an insurance company only wanted to give them $650K. Or down in Florida, a family ended up getting $12 million. An insurance company tried to go in and say, here's $350,000. No way. Team of attorneys from Morgan & Morgan went in and absolutely did their job. Folks, if you're ever injured, do me a favor. Check out my friends at forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Guys, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Don't forget also to hit up my friend Morgan & Morgan, okay? forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound 529. So make sure you check my friends out. Guys, do me a favor here. I love doing this. Oh, real quick, before we get back, Xander will join us at the bottom of the hour here. And we will talk to Mark Farzetta at 4:30. A friend of mine passed away, Tom Rafferty. He, I think, played for 13 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys. And he played center for him. I think he was on 2 Super Bowl teams, if I'm not mistaken. And when I first got to Dallas, I was one of my roommates. And man, an absolutely fantastic guy. What a great football player. You know, was he Jason Kelsey? No, but he was a really good player. And he passed away at the age of 70. I mean, he had played there when Coach Landry obviously brought him in, but he was a really great player. Taught Mark Stebnowski the position. Mark was making that transition from guard to center because Mark was an undersized guard. He was never going to play in the National Football League as a guard. He was too small. He was like 6'1", and he was like 275 pounds most. And Stebnowski, I love Stebnowski. He was a great friend of mine. He still is. And he went on to do Pro Bowl stuff. So 70 years old, man. I saw that yesterday, and Jones sent me a text and said that he passed, and I'm like, man. You know, when you start seeing dudes passing away and you're around your age, you're like, hang in there. So anyway, guys, hit the like button. We appreciate you guys. Hey, here's Spurger here. Hey, man, 70 ain't that bad a run. I got you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're right. Rafferty with great battles with all those teams back in the day, too, with the Eagles. He'll always tell you his favorite rivalry wasn't the Washington Redskins. His favorite rivalry was playing against the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles, and he said playing against the New York Giant teams with Lawrence Taylor and them guys, and Harry Carson. I go, which was a bigger challenge? Playing against the Carson and Lawrence Taylor and Carl Banks defenses, playing against the Washington Redskin defenses, or playing against the Eagles. Imagine that. Think of how good those defenses were back in the day. The Redskins had Wilbur Marshall on those teams, right? And Darrell Green. That's Washington. The Eagles had Gangrene. And the New York Giants had Lawrence Taylor. Then you put down there, you have the Cowboy defense. That's good shit. Yeah, man, he's a really great guy. I posted a couple pictures over on my X account. Rafferty was I think I put a starting lineup. If I'm not mistaken, I put a starting lineup. I'm very proud to be in that lineup with Rafferty here. Let me see if I posted that. Just to double check here. Tom was just a great football player. Oh, by the way, before we continue these grades, I did, so it's there for you. Guys, Joe Kraus, Xander Kraus. What's one of the biggest things we do here at JAKIB? Does anybody know what today is? Let's see how smart we are. Does anybody know what today is? Any idea? Any idea what today is? Guys have an idea? June 6th. Your anniversary. That's April 27th, bud. It's your birthday. George Soros Day. 81 years ago, the greatest generation of our country's history stormed the beaches of Normandy and made Omaha Beach the most famous beach on the planet. It's not Ocean City, Maryland. It's not Jones Beach. It's not Santa Monica Beach. It's D-Day. 81 years ago, men were getting off of hovercrafts and going onto the beaches. And as soon as the gates fell, many of the men were shot immediately. If you've ever been to Normandy and you've seen that hill, it's awe-inspiring. If you've ever looked up at that hill and you would go like this, what the fuck and how did that get up there? Up to those gun towers and liberate Europe. I mean, and then when you get up there and you walk around and you see the cemetery where all those men and women or men died, it's there's just rows of them. When I wrestled in Europe, we wrestled around that area and we had a chance to go down and see that thing. I've never been more inspired in my entire life than looking up from the beach and doing this. My God, would I have the balls to do that? Get off that hovercraft, go into the water, bullets are firing at me, and I got to climb that? First, I got to swim half a mile to get in. Then I got to climb that to get up that thing to save people's lives I have no concern for. But yet I did. I must. I don't know. Would you have the balls to do that and put your ass and your family on the line for that? And liberate America? Or liberate Europe from tyranny? Hey, man, you see all that bullshit on TV nowadays about, this, what Nazi Germany, what that right there, doing that, you have to go. Okay? Evil. Evil. Freedom or bullets and death. Hey, once you're off that boat, dog, you're in. You're either making it or you're dead. Could you do that? I don't know if I could do that. Sorry for your loss. Anthony, thank you so much and by the way, this month is Veterans Month. I know other people have other notions of what this month is. To me, this is Veterans Month, especially when you have Liberation Day and you have D-Day 81 years ago today. We so forget. So many other things now, social media. You go on social media, they don't even post it. Okay. America is where it is today because of that day. It's okay. Hey, you can make shitty and snide marks because those guys died for you. It's all right. They would probably laugh too. Thank you very much, Anthony. You're awesome. Now I got a beef with you. I'm an Ohio State fan and alum. I did not know that. So I love Scary Terry. Furthermore, I hate Bama, but Smitty is way better player. You have to be trolling. Dog, I'm not trolling. How can you be the better player when you don't play the better people? You don't play the better people. By the way, like I said, I had a Hall of Fame voter yesterday. Trolling? So here, let me ask you this. Here's Michael Irvin. I asked Michael Irvin, Mike, who would you take, Devontae Smith or Terry McLaurin? I'm on the show now. This was yesterday. He took Terry. That's Michael Irvin. I asked a Hall of Fame voter who he would take. Terry McLaurin's a better player. The only people that think that, Anthony, are people in Philly. I'm not really going to debate it. Pro Football Focus ranked the top 32 receivers. Smitty's 17th. McLaurin's 10th. He's the number 2. That's what he is. How can you rank somebody better than someone else when they don't play the same position or play against the same competition? A.J. Brown plays against the best corners every single Sunday and dominates. Smitty doesn't. Okay? Okay, great. And they were 9-8. Okay? How many yards did he have that year? 800? 900 yards? I forget what it was. 70 catches, 80 catches, was it? For 900 yards? Great. You don't have a real great history, LJ, of wide receivers in Philly. Look at the numbers. Look at the greatest seasons in wide receiver history are now. And guess what? T.O. That's awesome. 978 rookie year. Pretty good, man. Not electric. He was a rookie, so I know people who have better rookie years. I'm wrong again. Michael Irvin and an NFL Hall of Fame voter. Just two people I talked to. How can you call a guy a better player than a guy who plays against the best people in the game? I'm not debating this, man. That's like telling me that T. Higgins is better. And once again, I'll take a Hall of Famer's word over your word every day. Okay? Again, get this. Your opinion versus Michael Irvin's, that's okay. Debate it all you want. Smitty was a Heisman winner. So fucking what? What's that got to do with the NFL? Most Heisman guys are bums. All right? I mean, Urban Fryer hates, really? Irvin hates Eagles. Oh, okay. I don't think he does. He called Jalen Hurts on this program elite. He said that they have a chance for a dynasty. He doesn't hate you. That's a lie. He never said that. Okay? You get this. He gets force-fed because he's a number one. AJ gets force-fed, and he's a number one. He's the best receiver in football. I'm not debating this any longer. Okay? I'll listen to a voter who votes in the room and a player who made the hall over fuckheads like some of you. Give me a break. My God. Yeah, okay. I'm going to debate with a Philly person over who they think is better. Sure, okay, yeah. I'm not debating that. All right. So we did all these. I love these ratings. So before we get Xander up here, let me take a look where they got Reed Blankenship. Here. Here's safeties. Let's see here where they got safeties ranked. Here's the top safeties. This is what I love about Pro Football Focus. These are the best players at their position. Kyle Hamilton is the best safety in the game. Xavier McKinney, you could make it. I'll take the kid Bates over McKinney. But they got Bates third and they got McKinney second. Why would the Giants get rid of Barkley and him? That so doesn't. It just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. You end up getting rid of. It just doesn't make. I mean, Antonio Winfield's fourth. I love this kid in Detroit, Brian Branch. He's fifth. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a serious question before you get Xander on here. Kirby Joseph so get this. The Detroit Lions have the fifth best safety and the sixth best safety in pro football. With Kirby Joseph. Love Derwin James at 7. Budda Baker's a top 10 guy. And Brandon Jones is a top 10 guy. Javon Holland from the Giants. He's a really good player. Those are your top 10. Julian Love, Seattle's 11. Jabril Peppers from Patriots is 12. Gardner Johnson's 13th. Texans. Justin Reed, Saints, is 14. So let me ask you this. Reed Blankenship is ranked 15th as the 15th best safety in football. Let me ask you this. This is what they say about him. While Blankenship formed one of the best safety duos in the NFL with Gardner Johnson at 24, he was less effective individually compared to previous seasons. Nevertheless, 69.9 or 69.5 overall grade ranked him 29th in the NFL. Blankenship's 78.8 overall grade over the past 3 seasons ranks him 14th. Are you paying that guy $10 million? Does that sound like a $10 million a year guy? That guy's replaceable in my book. What about his leadership? I think he's a good player. I do. I think he's a good player and a good scheme. But where's his contract? If he's so important, where's his deal? They're going to wait for what? Start of the season? They're going to get more money in? Shit, they got $20-some-odd million. What, $25 million in cap space now? They could sign the guy. Are you going to let that guy? I'll bet you anything they don't sign that guy before the start of September. Okay? I'll bet they don't. All right. Guys, I appreciate you guys. Again, I love these ratings here. Reed's a good player. I'm not taking a piss on that. Xander, let me do one more. Let me do the last one here. Let me do corner. Okay, so the top corners are this. Sauce Gardner, Pat Surtain, Trent McDuffie, Jalen Johnson, Derek Stingley, DJ Reed. Wow. The Lions have a great secondary. Marlon Humphrey, so do the Ravens. Christian Benford, Bills. You hear Alexander, Green Bay, 9. Denzel Ward, Browns, 10. Cooper DeJean is 11. Devin Witherspoon is 12. Gonzalez is 13. I think they all went the same draft. Jalen Ramsey is 14. Ward from the Colts is 15. Mitchell is 16. Jamil Dean is 17. I think that grade a little bit low for Q. I'd have him higher. All right. With all that said, great stuff. Next week, folks, June 13th will be the last dress rehearsal before you get into training camp. Have to have your boys all set up. All that said, they kick ass every single day. I get a lot of stuff from it when I watch it, and I watch it every day. Birds 365 with John McMullen, who, by the way, I have a date with John. You know when it is, baby? Big Sills has a date with John McMullen. September 5th. How you doing? That's Friday. You know what that is? That's post-game show. Yes, sir. Can't hide from me then. We're ready to rock. Last time we had him down at the shore was one of the best performances by Big Z that we had in the last 2 weeks. Over a 10 share we had with that. That's what I'm going to call it. All right? The man, the myth, the legend, the king of the bucket hat. My boy, Big Z, Xander Krause. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
How's the shore, dog?
Shore's great, man. Family's here again, so beautiful weekend ahead of us, but a nice weekend. I'm ready for some football, Sills. I was thinking about that this morning, man. 90 days away from the season kicking off. I feel like the season just ended. You know, we're already 90 days from this thing, man. June 6th. It's a September 4th Thursday kickoff. By the way, I'm gonna have to I'm going to have to be Cupid here and maybe move up that date a couple of months. We're not waiting until September 5th for that. That's a Royal Rumble. We need a Summer Slam. We need WrestleMania. And the main event is the football season, Big Sills.
I like that, man. Hey, so I heard you ask John this question. I'm going to ask you, what's been your biggest takeaway this offseason? You asked him about OTAs. I'm going to ask you, your biggest takeaway this offseason has been what?
Positioning themselves for the future, it seems like to me, while also trying to do everything they can to be competitive in 2025. But if you look at what they did with the short-term deals, I mean, it's obvious that they were using they're using a little bit of Band-Aids because they had to make some forward-thinking decisions for the future this summer, and they bandaged it up with 1-year deals. Now, last year they were really successful on those shot in the dark deals. You had Mekhi Becton, you had Zach Bond, obviously came from them. So I'm not saying you're going to have that, but do you have competent players that allow you to, be in the position to repeat this year? I do think they have a good enough core offensively and defensively to be in the conversation. And I think what they did this summer really was made the picture for 26, 27, and 28 look better, or at least start to come into frame a little bit more so. But that's what I would say. It's a little bit of a restructuring offseason. I think they've done a lot differently than what they did in the last 2 times they were in the Super Bowl in the last decade. And that's the one they won in 17 and the one they lost in 22. I think they handled this offseason much different.
I'm going to rephrase the question I asked you yesterday, and I'm going to do it here. Do you believe that the Eagles are going to have Barkley go for 340 carries this year? And if you do believe that, is that the recipe for the Super Bowl again? 340 carries is what led to a legendary season that he had, and a season that he ended up running the team through a finish line. Does he have to be around that number again? 300, 320, 340? Does he have to be in that conversation again for that team to repeat?
Oh, I don't think it could hurt. It depends on how the season goes. But did you hear his comments about retiring?
I did, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're going to say that. All right, we're going to run you 400 times, man, until those wheels come off. If you can hang them up at any moment, then what are we saving this thing for? So, no, I told you what I'm interested to see is I think post-bye week, Sills, there's no guardrails. But pre-bye week, I'd be curious to see what their approach is because I know you want to win. I know certain games might call for that, but do you want to run up Saquon Barkley 30 carries in a game, before the bye week in those first 8 weeks? I understand if they do it, but I would also understand if they said, let's at least wait to take the guardrails off till post-bye week, then really let him ramp up because he did show he can handle the workload. Now the question will be, what type of longevity does he have after that? And will it, you always do that thing with the pencil, tick, 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 tick,
Oh,
tick.
yeah.
Is any of that adding up? We'll have to see.
How many wins do you think it's going to take this year to be a postseason team in the NFC playoffs? You think it's going to take north of 10? How much do you think the NFC has increased? How much do you think it's gotten better? Do you think the NFC East itself, could there be potentially 3 teams with 10 wins?
That's what I think.
In that division. So
I honestly
do you think it's north of 10 this year?
I think 10. Let's run through it real quick. I'm going to just give you the 7 teams off the top of my head that I would potentially think would make the playoffs in the NFC. Obviously, these could vary. Obviously, I'm not going to be right on all 7 of them. I think the Eagles and the Commanders are locks. I think.
You think they're north of 10 wins?
I do. I think both those teams are north of 10 wins. I think Detroit's a lock. I think the Rams are a lock. I think the Bucks are probably a lock based on their
shitty division.
Yes, in a shitty division, they're
That's
probably
5.
a lock. I got to go somewhere in the NFC North.
You think the Cowboys are a 10-win team?
I was going to go Cowboys at 7. Who's that other NFC North team I'm missing? I don't want to go Packers. I'm not so fully sold on them.
The
Vikings.
Bears?
Vikings are a tough buy right now too. No, I don't think the Bears are going to be. I don't know. Okay. I don't know if they're going to make that jump.
How about
probably the Vikings, Packers. Yeah, 49ers. I mean, I think the 49ers could realistically get back in. That would push probably the Cowboys out. I don't know if the Cowboys, I know I've told you guys, I think the Cowboys could be second in the NFC East, but they do have an uphill battle. There's no doubt about it. Especially if you think about the 49ers, the Packers, Sills,
Rams.
Well, I said the Rams, but and the Rams are what? NFC South? No, West.
Yes.
NFC West. Who else could contend in that division? Seahawks.
Seattle.
I don't see that.
Look, Sam Darnold. I mean, look, I think Sam Darnold's a bum, but he won 14.
Yeah, he did lead the. Yeah, right. He did lead the Lions
he
last
won
year.
14 ball games. So Sander.
Now that team's not as good as Detroit was last year. That
No,
team doesn't have the
absolutely
manpower.
not. Absolutely not. But look at this: Eagles 10 wins, Commanders 10 wins, Lions 10 wins, Bucks 10 wins, Rams 10 wins. I got the Cowboys with 10 wins. You're sitting at 6, one more.
Right.
Could
Right.
there
I
be a
think all those
surprise
teams are
with the
10-win
Packers?
team too.
Could you be surprised with the Packers?
I think the question on the win thing is going to be how do the second teams in the NFC East do, and how do the second teams in the NFC North do? Because if you have those NFC North teams, and again, remember last year, dude, there was like, the Vikings won 14 games and didn't even win the North. So that was like a 15, 14, 12, or 13. I forgot what the Packers won last year, but does the NFC East have that this year where you have Eagles 13, Commanders 12, and Cowboys 10, or Commanders 11, Cowboys 10, somewhere in there? Maybe vice versa.
Those guys are playing tough schedules. Those guys are playing tough schedules in that division this year too. Everybody's playing pretty tough schedules. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
All the way down to what? So I would say this. I think there's a great chance you're going to need 10 wins or more to make the NFC playoffs this year. And I'm gonna make it very clear here to people, and I keep saying this. Xander, my team's over in the AFC. I got Bills. I've got Ravens. I've got Bengals.
You think Bengals get back on track?
Oh, yeah. I got Texans. I'll tell you what, Joe Burrow will leave if they don't. I've got Chiefs. No, I don't have Chiefs. I have Chargers, and I have Broncos. 1, 2, 3.
So you think the Chargers are going to win that division with the Chiefs?
I do. I do not believe in the town. Okay, let's take Mahomes out of the conversation for a second with the Chiefs. Chris Jones, Creed Humphrey, and McDuffie. Who else you think there's a top flight guy in that team?
Nobody.
I don't
Not
think
Travis
they've
Kelce
retooled
anymore.
it.
They lost. Didn't they lose an offensive lineman this year
Yeah,
too?
the kid Tooney's now up in
Tooney with
He's
Chicago.
up in Chicago. He's one of the highest
Chicago.
rated guards in the league.
So you lost him. It depends. If you agree if Patrick Mahomes does will that team to the playoffs, that dude is rare.
Oh my God.
I mean, here's the one
sale.
thing. Here's the one thing that you can't take from Patrick Mahomes right now that you maybe can't make the argument for the other guys who are in the elite conversation. Patrick Mahomes has uplifted every team, even teams that didn't feel like they were built to win, more so than any other team. Like he took lesser teams further than those Bills teams. He took lesser teams
team that beat
than the Ravens team.
I didn't think that team.
Dude, the 23 team that beat the Niners. Remember, they were middle of the road midway through that year.
Yep.
They were not even supposed to, they were people talking about where they're going to make the playoffs, and then they exploded in the playoffs and obviously won the Super Bowl. So I think Mahomes really still has that feather in his cap where I don't know, until I'm proven otherwise, Sills, where he's not going to have a good football team, how am I going to pick the Chargers? I mean, I can't pick the Chargers in that division.
I think Jim Harbaugh is going to. Here's one.
But you're not betting only on Jim Harbaugh. You're betting on Patrick Mahomes not being able to continue what he's done.
I'm betting on Jim Harbaugh because Harbaugh's won everywhere he's gone. He's taken a team. That guy took Colin.
Jim Harbaugh never had to face Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Well, that guy did take Colin Kaepernick to a Super Bowl.
Yes, he did. But
I mean,
Andy Reid and
guess
Mahomes
what? If they don't turn the lights out, they may win that game.
When's the last time somebody else won in that division?
Oh, it's been a spell. It's been. I can't. Hell, man, they must have 5 straight AFC championships now.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
23 Chiefs, 22 Chiefs, 21 Chiefs, 20 Chiefs, 19 Chiefs, 18 Chiefs, 17 Chiefs. Now I'd have to open up the full list to say.
You're almost talking about a
16 Chiefs. So And then before that, it was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 2011 through 2015 was the Broncos. So it was Broncos for what, 5 years? And then Chiefs now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 years.
Man.
9 years.
And
9 straight years.
And get this.
Mahomes has been a quarterback here for 9 years.
Well, no.
He's won the division every year.
Actually, Alex Smith won the division too.
Won what? The first one. He won the first one. And then Mahomes took it. Yep.
That's right.
Dude. So you're telling me, wait a second. So you're telling me, okay?
Yeah.
You're telling me that ever since Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have played a full season together, they have won the AFC West. And you're going to say that Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh are going to knock them off.
Yeah, because shit doesn't last forever. Ask New England.
Yeah, no, I know it doesn't. I'm just saying I think Patrick Mahomes is still in his prime.
Oh, I think there's nothing wrong with him. Remember though, Xander, last year you had 12 one-score games that you won. And also, people have to remember, Brady went 10 years in between winning 2 Super Bowls to the next one. That is not something that is going to be a given that division is going to be theirs, man. I mean, I think a lot of teams in that, I think the Broncos got better. I think the Chargers are getting better. I don't think that's going to be some sort of like easy road for them. And I think the competition, you even hear the way PFF talks about Mahomes, and I agree with you. He's the eraser, dude. You can put him, he's probably, do you not agree? He's probably the LeBron James in his prime, where you could take a quarterback and he can almost take every single roster to a Super Bowl.
That's actually a good comp. LeBron led the between Cleveland and Miami, and then Cleveland again. He went to what, 10 straight finals? 10
straight finals. So you could probably put him in Carolina, and they could possibly win the NFC South.
That's crazy. That was a crazy feat, by the way, by LeBron. That was like peak era of
There's
LeBron.
only one other group of men that have ever done that, and that's those Celtics guys from the 60s.
Right.
Nobody's ever done that. And LeBron did that in an era now where you have free agency. Remember, they didn't have free agency then. Okay?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy run. That's a good comp.
Yeah, I think he's the only guy you could put him anywhere. Maybe not.
I mean, he's got 3 rings. Mahomes got what, 3 rings already? 3 rings. He's been to 5 Super Bowls.
5 Super Bowl appearances. I think he's got 3 Super Bowls, and I think he's got 5 AFC championship rings.
Yeah.
And he's 29.
3 and 2 in the Super Bowl. And I will say this, he has had some shoddy Super Bowl performances.
Yeah.
A couple. First one versus Brady. That was terrible.
What was his best Super Bowl performance from quarter?
Probably the one versus the Niners.
The one in overtime?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Chiefs,
remember,
Niners.
He didn't play that hot in the first half.
No, he didn't, but he did have 330 and 2 touchdowns.
In 5 quarters.
And 9 carries for 66 yards.
Yep.
5 quarters. I mean, yeah, you're right. He started slow, but
5 quarters he played to get those numbers.
Yeah, I mean, he was 34, 46 for 333 and 2 touchdowns.
I mean,
now,
that's probably,
I'm just saying, you asked what the best one was. That was probably the best one. Because the one he beat us in, he had like 180 passing yards.
Yeah, he did.
He was efficient in that game. He was efficient in that game.
He had a great fourth quarter in that game.
Yeah, right. So when Jonathan Gannon and the defense melted down.
I want to show you something here. PFF is pretty good this year. Here, look at this wide receivers rankings. A.J. Brown, they got him number 1. Like, look at the top 5 guys here. You got A.J., Justin, Jamar Chase, Ahmad St. Brown, Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins.
What's this? Top 5 what? Receivers,
wide receivers.
For what? Just in general?
No, this is the top. This is what they got him ranked.
For who? Who? My bad.
PFF has AJ ranked 1,
Okay.
Justin 2, Jamar Chase 3, Ahmad St. Brown 4, and Puka Nacua 5. I'd probably put CD there at 5, right?
Yeah, over Puka.
Yeah.
Puka's versatile, man. I do like the way he plays the game, but I don't think you can put him over CeeDee Lamb.
No, but that's pretty.
By the way, what a great super chat earlier today by Anthony Wilson.
About?
Just an Ohio State guy who obviously knows that Devontae Smith is a better player than Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. I know. Hey, I did like I said, man. All you got to do is just talk to Hall of Famers and Hall of Fame voters.
Oh yeah, but
Nobody in Philly.
Michael Irvin didn't text you back. I know he takes 4 days. You told me that.
Okay,
He takes 4 days on every text. Now all of a sudden, Michael Irvin checks in right away. I'm not buying it, Sileo.
Okay, here. I'm going to send Xander this text. Since he's calling
I will
me
confirm right here on the air if you are lying.
Okay, here. So I took a screenshot of it. Because I knew Xander would do this.
Oh no, you didn't.
Hey, hang on here. Where is that? Where can I send?
I knew Xander would do this.
Okay, hang on for a second here. And let's put Xander here. And we put Big Z. I got him listed as Big Z, believe it or not.
Let's see what you got. Let's see if anything comes over to the cell phone. Let's see. Michael Irvin didn't say Terry was better than Smitty. Oh, he did. Oh no. Mike, who would you take, Devontae Smith or Terry McLaurin? Terry.
Yeah.
Would I sound insane?
I was shocked too. It takes 7 months to get back to me.
Oh, wait, I don't want to show it. Yeah, the numbers there. I don't want to show it. Wait. Am I insane if I say Michael Irvin don't know shit?
No, you're a fan. No, you're not.
I'm taking Devontae Smith. I think Michael Irvin would too. Put him on a polygraph. He'll take Smitty.
Do me a favor. Wake me up when he plays against the number 1 corner every week. Then we'll talk about whether or not he's
Reyes. That's not my font, dude. That's Silio's font. That was a screenshot. Look at him. He's like,
I have to have him big, dude.
Yeah, that's the magnifying glass font, man. That's not my font.
Hey, I have to have him big here, man. Hey, check this out, though, man. Listen to this shit. Here's your tackles, man. I've never seen anything like this. The best tackles in football. I am shocked that they put Jordan Mailata number 1 over Tristan Wirfs. And there he is. Mailata was the most complete. Listen to the fucking headline. Mailata was the most complete offensive lineman in the National Football League in 2024. It is bold print. Like, he's the best lineman. This guy was a 7th round draft choice. Xander, is that Howie Roseman's greatest draft pick?
Wow. Yeah, but that wasn't. I mean, you. If anybody watched the Eagles Unscripted this year from the draft, and I give credit to Howie for this, but this isn't Howie like going through the boards and saying, "Oh, I like that play." Like he puts the picks in, but that was probably more of a Jeff Stoutland pick. That was probably more the scout pick. He the way I like the way Howie does it, but he kind of lays everybody out on day 3. He's like, I want guys with traits with upside. I don't just want the 250th best player in the draft. That's not what I want. I want players with traits. So that was probably more of a Stoutland pick, but it does come under Howie. Look, if he has to take the fallout of Jalen Reagor, all right, for Doug, he gets the credit then for a guy like Jordan Mailata. So yes, but no, it wasn't his best pick ever.
They got Lane.
The best pick ever was when this organization was spiraling before. I'm not giving you baloney. I truly believe this. I truly believe this in my heart. When you have an organization that was about to spiral because things weren't working with their starting quarterback, when that really messes up other franchises, and most other franchises would not be able to move on from that, Howie put in a card for a quarterback. Now, whether he wanted him to be the starter or not is not the point. We had a safeguard that worked out better, and most other teams would have been in purgatory for how many years after moving on from a starting quarterback like that?
Could be 20.
So I think Jalen Hurts honestly was the greatest pick of all time because you've now had 4 straight seasons of playoff appearances. You've had 2 Super Bowl appearances in 3 years and another Super Bowl ring coming off the previous regime of a head coach and quarterback. So look, Mailata was the bigger pick in terms of you take a 7th rounder and turn him into the best tackle, but the most franchise-altering pick in the last decade was 100% Jalen Hurts. And I mean that from my honest opinion. I'm not saying that to joke with you or – I really believe that. Yeah.
I believe you're right, and I'm going to make this point to you here. I said this about Hurts today, and I believe this because I made the comment this morning about this. Don't you agree about Brady? Brady's the greatest teammate. Brady was the best studier and the best student of the game. And Brady was the smartest quarterback in history. You know why people miss on quarterbacks? You see those three intangibles? It has nothing to do with arm strength. It has nothing to do with athleticism. Look at Peyton Manning. How would you know any of that when he lost 4 times to Florida at Tennessee? Remember, when Tennessee won the national title, it wasn't him. He wasn't the starting quarterback there. It was Martin. T. Martin was the starting quarterback when they won the national title at Tennessee. People are going, oh, he won. No, he did not. He won that after Peyton. Peyton never beat Florida. So, but what made Peyton great? Student of the game. Great practice guy. Teammates loved him. Brady, too. I would make this comment to you that Jalen Hurts, his teammates love him. Okay? He's a student of the game. He's one of the smarter guys in the league. Okay? He's totally a student of the game. He works at the game, and he's smart. He's smarter than Lamar Jackson. Just the way he approaches the game. Is he better as a talent? No. But that doesn't win Super Bowls, Xander.
I know.
Those three intangibles, in my opinion, win Super Bowls. You don't have to. Would you ever say Brady had the biggest arm in NFL history? No. Would you say he was a great athlete? That fucking guy couldn't jump over a stack of quarters. But when you saw his 5'4", 40, but he was the smartest guy, he was the greatest teammate, and he was a student of the game. I think that's the thing that makes Jalen Hurts separate from every single one of those other guys, including Joe Burrow. I think he's better than all those guys at that, and that's what makes him a winner. Because like you said we said yesterday, can you imagine doing this? Hey, dude, I don't want you to throw the ball. That is such an indictment for a quarterback to go, fuck you. But yet he does this. Okay, what's ever in the cards to win, I don't care how you paint it. How many times you hear him say this? I don't care what it looks like. We're going to win. I don't care if it means I have to play well or I have to throw this or I don't care. Players in today's NFL don't have that kind of ego or I should say not have the humility.
I couldn't. You couldn't say that blanketly about the whole NFL. I don't think.
No way.
Jalen Hurts, you can say that about. Yeah, Jalen Hurts, you can say that about. Listen, there's a Hall of Fame of statisticians, and there's a Hall of Fame of winners. All right, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, maybe even a guy like a Dak Prescott. They will be the modern day stat guys. Now, maybe some of them have a chance to win some Super Bowls and put themselves in the winner category. I believe that. I think Lamar will ultimately eventually get there, maybe. I think Josh Allen will win one. I believe that. I believe Josh Allen will win a Super Bowl. And then there's the Hall of Fame of winners, and Jalen Hurts falls in that category, my friend.
Okay. So here's the only thing that I would say to you about that. So you think if Derrick Henry ends up his career 14,000 rushing yards?
Well, I do think it applies differently for
those
quarterbacks.
Are stats and not accomplishments?
Well, don't you think it's different for quarterbacks, though? Because like you just said, right, exactly like you just said about how Jalen Hurts is a smart quarterback. No other player, no other position on the field has that type of impact and, impact on the game. It doesn't exist outside of the quarterback. So, while I agree with you, yeah, you can't.
More than numbers.
It's got to be. It has to be more than numbers at that position. Because if it's not, all you're going to end up with is numbers in the end. And as good as they are, they don't put a ring on your finger. Ask Tom Brady, who lost the greatest Super Bowl he ever played with over 500 passing yards. So,
I think you're right. I think every player. I don't think everything. It's a blanket conversation. Because to me, when I see a guy with 18 or 20 sacks, Reggie White's career with 23 sacks or 22 sacks that one year he had in Philly, dude, that's not stats. That's an accomplishment. Those are, with double-digit sack years, multiple in the NFL, to me, is accomplishments. I mean, those are fun. I mean, Derrick Henry having 3 1,500-yard rushing years.
Yeah, that's not to say it's not impressive, right? But don't you agree that in football, because it's an ultimate team game, the way that we judge individual players and talent and personal accolades and statistics, while it will always be a thing, and I agree with you, it's partly how players get paid and a big part of that, it will always have to be viewed differently than how you compare success, winning as a football team, as a leader, as a winner, all those different things. I mean, they are really different categories.
Yeah, I mean, because if you're going to compare Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith, okay, both guys phenomenal players during their same decade. Well, Emmitt Smith has 3 Super Bowl rings. Barry has none. And Emmitt is the all-time leading rusher. But if you watched one of them, somebody's going to go like this, like Barkley will say, hey, man, you can't tell me Barry Sanders is not the best running back. I get it. You're right. But how you gauge a guy and how you rank a guy, that at the end of the day comes with Super Bowls. I got another question here for you. So let me throw this at you here. Oh, yeah. Here's where I'm going. I want to get to this one here. Okay, here it is. I want to go down here to this. Let's see here. Here's the safety position. Kyle Hamilton is one. This is what I love about PFF. This got nothing to do with Super Bowls. These are the best players at their respective positions in the league. And why?
Well, it is graded, though, on their scales.
Well, like it's graded. It's graded as the best guys in their sport at the position.
Yeah, no, but again, so that would mean you have to subscribe that PFF's grading system is your favorite method of grading players. It's not mine.
Well, to me, what it does, it's just a metric. I mean, like,
it is. It's a metric.
I think they got AJ Wright being the best.
Yeah, but I actually don't think that was the grades. He wasn't the highest graded receiver last year. He was the highest ranked by one of their raters.
I don't know, man, but when I look at that list and I go, who would you take right now as the best receiver in the game? I've said it for 2 years. I give the guy shit, but man, I'm telling you, in the run game, pass game, there's no coincidence that he blocked for Derrick Henry and he's blocked for Saquon Barkley, and he's blocked for 3 different guys who have made the Pro Bowl at running back, and he's put 1,500 yards up. Dude, there's something to that. I don't know, man.
You're right. You're right about that. No doubt.
I mean,
no doubt.
Here's what they got. They got Kyle Hamilton 1, Xavier McKinney 2nd over Bates. I don't know. You can debate that one. Antonio Winfield 4th. I can't believe the Lions and what they've done, Brad Holmes, with these 2 safeties. They got Brian Branch at 5, and they got Kirby Joseph at 6. So the Lions have the 2 best safeties in pro football. Derwin James 7, Budda Baker 9, Brandon Jones from the Denver Broncos 9, Javon Holland from the Giants 10, Julian Love from the Seahawks 11, Jabril Peppers from New England is 12, Gardner Johnson, it's not a bad rating for him, at 13, Houston. He had a great year a year ago. Justin Reed, Saints 14, and there's Reed Blankenship sitting there at 15. While Blankenship formed one of the best safety duos in the NFL with Gardner Johnson 24, he was less effective individually compared to the previous season. These are the free agents, Xander, that are going to be free agents at the end of this year. I wonder how many of these players the Eagles are going to allow to go into their final year. Nakobe Dean, Reed Blankenship, Jahan Dotson, Grant Calcaterra, and Kenyon Green. The rest of the other guys are special teams dudes. These are the 5 main guys that the Eagles.
I think only one of them is going to get signed.
Who's that?
You said it too. Dean,
Reed, Dotson, Katera, and Kenyon. Now again,
I think it's Reed. It's Reed. It's going to be Reed. I think they're going to pay Reed.
I don't believe.
Are you going to rip that move?
What's that?
You going to rip that move if they pay him?
No.
I don't get the feeling it'd be your favorite signing just because of how they're prioritizing the players.
Yeah, no. Dude, when you hear other people saying how important he is, you know what? Reed Blankenship may not be important in Washington or Chicago, but he's important in Philly on what he wants back there.
Yeah, but again, and I'll pull a you here. All right. So Dan, Jordan Davis is important to Philly, and you go, okay, at what price? Right? I mean, that's my question on Reed. At what price? Where are they going to go? Because they do got all those guys to pay still.
Bro, I'm not paying him though until the end of the season. I'm not paying him going in. I'm going to let him play his final season.
You're going to risk him wanting to get into free agency.
Go ahead. Okay, wait a minute. Go ahead. I did it with Zach Bond too.
No. Bond was different. Bond was a 1-year deal who never expected to be playing the role he was, who himself is just as surprised by his success at that position as we are.
He is.
And he signed 2 weeks before free agency started, so he agreed, or him and the team. Now there was mutual respect. But Reed's been here. Reed knows he's eligible for a contract now. They could pay Reed at any point. Like, you don't sign a 1-year guy and then give him an extension.
No.
You let him play the year.
I think they're going to treat him. I think they're going to treat him like Bond. If they're going to sign him, they're going to.
They let him get to the end of the year. I think he's going to pull Milton Williams and say, "I'll test the market."
Okay.
Remember, you got if you.
Well, I'm not paying him north of 10.
I think 10 is the number.
Me too. You think
the number?
Hey, I'm going to wait until I'm going to treat him like I did Zach Bond. I'm going to see him out there on the field, how he meshes with everybody. What if that kid, Makuba, ends up turning out to be a great football player and Sidney Brown actually fulfills his destiny? Are you still giving that guy 10?
Yeah, you're probably not. I speculated this, Sills, when they drafted Makuba, and I said everybody was like immediately like, okay, Reed and either Sidney or Makuba. And I was like, is it possible it's Makuba and Sidney? I could see that.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I could see that happening business-wise, but my brain is not processing right now us having a good defense with Sidney Brown and Makuba as our starting safeties. It's not.
Did you have that? Hey, I'm going to pull him. Wait a minute here. I'm going to pull a you now. You, okay? Well, I didn't think that fucking Zach Bond was anybody a year ago, and he turns out to be the best backer. He's rated the second best linebacker in pro football.
He is an exception, though. Now, did you hear what John? Now, I don't think you heard this because it was probably close to your 10 a.m. radio show that was about to kick off. So I'm not sure what time you turned off Birds 365 today. But Johnny Mack said something really interesting about what's going on at OTAs with Zach Bond right now. They have him working with Jeremiah Washburn.
Knew it.
Wait, so listen to this. And then if you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together, Zach Bond is now working with Jeremiah Washburn. Vic also said he wants Jahad Campbell, a guy who clearly has rushing ability, to learn off-ball linebacker. So hear me out. Vic doesn't blitz, but Vic does what? He zone blitzes, where you can have those two backers. You can tease the quarterbacks. They won't know which one's coming. And now you have Jahad Campbell and Zach Bond. Both of them are capable of rushing the passer. Both of them are capable of being off-ball linebackers. Now Vic has the most versatile set of linebackers in the league that fits his defense perfectly.
What an absolutely big sales, super sales 2025 I am fucking having. I flat out said they're going to move Bond outside and rush him more from outside because he's more versatile.
I don't know if they'll move him outside, but I think they could use him out there. I think that what they're trying to do is those zone blitzes. I think they're going to try and do those zone blitzes, though, with the backers, where you drop one and send one. That's what I think he's going to do.
I said they were putting him out there, and they were, because there was a question when Vic Fangio, that's where I got it from more so than anything. When Vic Fangio was asked, he goes, yeah, we're playing him out. And I heard Bond even saying, yeah, they're playing me out there more. We're kind of going across the board here. And then when Campbell, he asked the question on Campbell, King goes, no, we're playing him off linebacker, and that's where he's going to start. And then they started pressing him. He goes, no, well, maybe, I don't know. But we're playing him inside. So you're going to look in base potentially, or no, maybe a nickel, where you're going to see Bond rushing off the corner, and you're going to
Potentially.
have Campbell and Dean.
Yeah,
in
I
the
think
middle.
they'd use Campbell more I think they'd use Campbell more at the edge and keep Bond toward the middle. But if Bond has that ability, think about how much freedom that gives you from a defensive standpoint and how you can trick quarterbacks, because they can look and say every one of these guys could rush or could stay. That's going to make quarterbacks go crazy. So I think if this works out, I John said that to me today, and I'm like, holy shit, I got to press on that one on Monday. So thought that was interesting.
Okay, who do you think is the most versatile and important player between these two, Zach Bond or Cooper DeJean?
Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean's 22 years old.
If I'm putting him outside rushing, and I'm bringing him inside, and he's the best inside linebacker.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That fucker turns out to be Michael Parsons 2.0.
Yeah, but here's the problem, all right? You are talking to a fan here, and Cooper was drafted to Philly, pick 6 at 21, just turning 22 years old in the Super Bowl. Dude's getting honeys down at the Jersey Shore. This dude is Philly. This dude is taking over Philly. You can't tell me. Look, I love Zach Bond. All right, I do. But he's been here 1 year. Guy's 28. He might have, 3-4 year career here in Philly total. Coop might be here for the whole way through, baby. All right? Cooper DeJean is the new Mr. Philly, baby. Are you kidding me?
This guy's going to be picking the Hooters Chick of the Month pretty soon. I mean, this guy's down at the shore doing it all here. All right, Big Z, let's read some of these supers, my friend.
So we got Farsi coming up 4:30. Nice Friday afternoon, by the way. A little football Friday here on the National Football. Fly Eagles Fly says, got to keep the exciting whites together. So you want to keep Reed. She wants to sign Reed because Coop ain't going anywhere.
No way. That kid's going to be the face of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, does that matter at all, though, in the modern game? Think about it. Like keeping players that are buddy together.
Yeah.
Camaraderie, chemistry, things like that on the field. Like I do, especially the modern player sales where, back in your day, it was a little bit more like, wherever I'm getting paid, I'm showing up, I'm going to work. Today, it's a little bit more, players don't want to be yelled at. I like all these different things of today. I think it worked. I think it's more important now than it was then.
Well, then let me ask you this. How much do you think that played into Jordan Davis getting that 50-year option?
I think a lot.
That Jalen Carter plays next to him.
I think it also plays into Kobe Dean. And I think it plays into Nolan Smith as well. So keep your eye on all these Georgia guys that the Eagles have right now. While it's been a blessing for this team to have them, is it something they don't want to break up? Is it something that creates issues if it does get broken up? I don't think it would, honestly, because I think, 4 of them are here and 1 goes. It's kind of business in the NFL. But I do think there is a little bit of acknowledgement, at least, of chemistry and things like that.
Let me tell you what, again, the difference in hiring mercenaries, which you guys were in the past notorious for, that 2017 team, that roster, don't you think that was missionary? That was just like mercenaries. I mean, you had free agent mercenaries. Yeah. Now you have base guys that you've drafted. There's something about drafting guys being part of a culture versus hired hands.
A lot of talk about these Georgia boys, though, Sills, but there's somebody. I gave you some homework yesterday. I know you didn't go do it because you were speaking the same bullshit today, but here's a little more homework. We talk a lot about Georgia Bulldog. The Crimson Tide is still here in Philly because Jahad Campbell. Sills, go turn on the Campbell tape. Start to envision next to Zach Bond. Start to envision him with Jalen Carter wreaking havoc up front. Nolan Smith off the edge. Jalix Hunt taking a step forward. Start to research what Jahad Campbell can do for this team because you're going to be singing his praises no later than week 12. I 100% guarantee it.
Week 1 he's playing? Doubtful.
No, that's why I said by week 12.
Week 12?
No, you'll be singing his praises by week 12.
Oh, by week 12, we'll be singing his praises.
You were singing Cooper's praises by what, week 6?
Shit, week 5.
I think his first game was week what, 5 or 5?
Fuck,
no,
man.
6 because they had bye week was 5.
I did not believe that guy could bring that kind of energy into a locker room and into a team like that. He did, man. He changed. I'll tell you what, he made
just claimed a running back off waivers.
Who?
Keelan Robinson from the Jaguars.
Keelan Robinson.
Jaguars released a former 5th rounder earlier this week.
The Eagles continue to shop at Temu.
Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl, and there's nothing.
Another Temu signing.
I'll see you at the
Holy
parade
shit.
next year. And by the way, you have no choice but to be in the city of brotherly love for the parade next year. Kyle
Tebow.
Kokorski. Kyle says, this reminds me of the two linebackers Niners had 14 years ago, Bowman and Willis.
Who? You got one linebacker. Dean's not going to be ready for the start of the year, and nor is Campbell. You got Zach Bond right now, and you got Trotter. Who's that?
Dude, let's see. Let's see. Anthony Wilson says, Xander, my sons are around your age. They went to high school in Hartsteller, Alabama. It was hard. 4 of us living in Alabama being Ohio State fan. It must have, wait a second. All right. I've been in the state of Alabama. I've driven all through the state of Alabama. It must have been miserable for Anthony Wilson as an Ohio State fan to live in the state of Alabama. It is. They don't have college football or pro football teams. It's Alabama or it's Auburn in Alabama. Anthony, I know, Anthony, wait. I know deep down. I know it. Deep down in Anthony's heart, he's got a little love for the Crimson Tide. Anybody that respects greatness, anybody that respects dominance, and people who reach the pinnacle of their profession, which I know Anthony does. He's got a little love for Nick Saban. It got a lot easier to hate him again with this stiff they have in there now as the head coach.
Anthony, why don't you educate this kid that most of the folks that live in Alabama don't really root for that team? Okay? They don't. They root for the teams from out west, like Southern Cal, and they root for teams in the Big Ten.
When's the last time you stepped foot in the state of Alabama?
Now, it's changed big time.
It's
but
made
in the 70s and 80s, players in the Southeastern Conference did not stay in the Southeastern Conference.
It ain't the 70s and 80s anymore, man. The SEC
get this. No, I get it. It's changed. It's changed. But, Anthony, how many folks did you grow up with rooting for Alabama? Let's see what he says. I know.
Anthony can just say this. There's 4 of us. We're all Bama fans.
Yeah.
If you're in Anthony Wilson's man cave in his house, you pull on the wall, there's a big Ohio State plaque. You pull it off the wall, and what is there underneath? A big, beautiful, glowing Alabama A on the wall. Man. I love it, Anthony Wilson. I know it, my friend. I know it.
All right, we shall see here. Thank you, El. Yippee.
Appreciate it. Let me just read another one, Anthony. This is a great take by Anthony Wilson. Sorry for your loss. Now I got beef with you. I'm an Ohio State fan and alumni, so I love Scary Terry. Furthermore, I hate Bama. Fake news. But Smitty is way better player. You had to be trolled, and Sileo was so off base yesterday. He's still recovering.
I know. Me, Michael Irvin, and a Hall of Fame voter were off base. I know. I know.
Wait a second. All right, wait. What else did Michael Irvin say? About the quarterback of the Eagles, about the head coach of the Eagles. Okay. All right. So I'll make sure I say that about them now when you keep chirping. Kyle says, I drove through Alabama. All I saw was dirt and grass and saw them having Saints flags. Now you probably came from New Orleans, man. They do got a lot of New Orleans fans. Not in Bama. It's mostly Louisiana. Louisiana's fun.
Let me get another.
Zay, I love Georgia, but we are Saban's Bama tree. Yes, you are. Kirby Smart was the first. Kimberly, I'm sure you know this. Kirby Smart was the first Nick Saban assistant who became a head coach to actually beat Nick Saban in a head-to-head game. I'm sure you know that, Kimberly.
I think the second was what's his name? The guy at A&M. Was it the guy at A&M?
Jimbo. Yeah,
Dumbo.
I hate Jimbo.
Yeah,
I hate Dumbo. I hate him.
Me too.
He's my least favorite college coach, probably.
Yep. I hate Dumbo Fisher.
So look, Anthony's reeling. Anthony, we all know you're lying now, my friend. Sills is right. A lot of LSU and Georgia fans. No, it's not. There's Alabama fans all over the place.
But Anthony, why would you pick Ohio State?
Anthony, wait. When you get out, when you pour yourself a glass of whiskey tonight, or whatever it is you do for yourself, all right? I want you to slide the whiskey glass that has the Ohio State, move it to the side, and pull out that one in the back of the cupboard that's got the big Alabama Crimson Tide A on it. Pull that out and pour yourself a glass of whiskey tonight on the Crimson Tide.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask Keyshawn Johnson that question. Who would you take, Terry McLaurin, or would you take Devontae Smith? Let's see Keyshawn what he says.
All right, we got a major pause on the super chat. You ready?
Yeah.
Tell me, why do you got to do this to me on a football Friday and a bucket hat on the porch? He says, that missionary Freudian slip gave me a vision of seals on top, and it just ruined my weekend already.
Man, really creepy. Hey, dude, I'm trying to enjoy my Friday. You're fucking
I know,
it up,
man. I'm like, I got like a nice full drink on ice here and
right,
shit.
right.
Like,
Xander's got a drink.
Fleming.
Xander's got a drink. He's near the beach.
It's just a seltzer, so
it's an easy Friday, and this guy's saying on top. Come on, bro. It's Friday, man. Give us a break.
Come on, B. Flem.
Holy cow,
B. Flem, you got to be kidding me, dog. That is crazy. All right, Sills.
So wait.
You still recovering from it yesterday? You got taken to the woodshed?
Yeah, woodshed. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, the number 2 guy in the building. It's okay. Yeah, hey, you know what? I knew. Again, you can't debate Eagle guys.
If the communists were competent enough to get A.J. Brown on their team, what would Terry be on that team?
He'd be a 1.
No, he wouldn't. Over A.J.? No, he wouldn't.
Oh, no, over A.J., no.
Over A.J., that's what I said. That's what I said.
Okay, well, A.J.'s the best receiver in the game. Yeah, your other guy.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I don't use better twos. That's why I don't think it's a knock on Devontae Smith. Ask Farzi. Farzi will have a good answer for you. Mark, if you're listening, Devontae Smith or Terry McLaurin, who do you take? We'll see what he's got to say.
I'll bring him up. Xander, great stuff this week. Okay.
All right, Sills. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. See you
guys. Guys, great stuff. Please hit the like button here. So again, I showed you guys Michael Irvin and what he said, or Xander did. We asked the question. I mean, PFF just got through ranking, and I don't know, you don't really need PFF. And again, we were having a nice debate yesterday, and then we had a Hall of Fame voter on, Jason Cole, and I asked the question, if you had to pick between Terry McLaurin and you had to pick between Devontae Smith, who's the better player? And I think anybody outside of Philly would tell you it's McLaurin because he's the number 1 guy, and he plays against the number 1 corners. Remember, he's the Z. He's the second best player at the wide receiver position. He doesn't take on the top flight corners, and they don't flip receivers. McLaurin takes on the best DBs, and that's why PFF ranked him 10th too. And again, this guy had Sam Howell throwing him the ball. Sam fucking Howell. Who's that? Like Thurston Howell III, the guy in Gilligan's Island. Right? I mean, come on now, man. All right, Jesus. Hey, listen, I'm not going to argue with Philly fan. There's just no way. Dude, if you signed a trash pail and you brought him in, that's the best cornerback I've ever seen. Wait a minute. This guy, Adoree Jackson, just got whacked in New York. This guy's going to compete. He's an all-pro. They took a shit. Now, then again, not that they're smart in New York. Okay? All right. With all that being said, so I get this. I can't wait to ask Farzi this. So I got a battle royale set up. And I'm going to let's bring Mark Farzetta up here. And Farzi, you ready for this one?
It better be another Thurston Howell III reference.
Oh, Jesus. I'm sure like 4 people know who the hell that is that I just referenced.
Anyway, yeah.
Right? Okay. So I have this battle royale with these 2 streamer guys, one from Dallas and the Philly 500, and I have him on. These guys just are great. They bring great numbers, what have you.
Okay.
So somebody said, why don't you get Angelo and Howard Eskin on and have those 2 guys go back and forth? And I went like, okay, so we're setting up something and we're going to get a day. Now, me being the professional antagonizer that I am and like fire can starter, which I'm known for actually, I'm going to be the moderator in the middle of this. 3 paisans. How many words will be said? Will anybody get a word in? Otherwise, here, we're going to try to do this shit next week.
Yeah.
How do you think that goes? Because one guy can't stand Andy Reid. The other guy loves Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm.
One guy can't Stan, one thing about the coach, Nick Sirianni, the other guy absolutely loves Nick Sirianni. You being around both men, how do you think that goes?
I think it's going to go just about as well as the 20 years they worked morning and afternoon at WIP.
Off the rail.
It'll be anytime they've shared a studio or a show, it tends to go off the rails would be a good way to look at it. I'm a little confused by you the third Paisan. You said that there's 3 Paisans. Did Eskin tell you he was a Paisan? Because that's a bold-faced lie.
No, that's right. He's not a Paisan. That's right. That'd be a phony misrepresentation by me. How about this? Well, then again, I made Sammy Sosa a Paisan once, so I can make Howard Eskin a Paisan. I mean, if you had a vowel in your name, Moses Malone, in my opinion, is a Paisan. He had an E.
Yeah, Malone. Yeah, Malone. Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
Moses
of course.
Malone. He did say something interesting this week.
Old Tootie Malone.
Howard Eskin.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Howard did say something interesting. I pressed him on. He said he found out exactly what the salary was for Nick. He said it's 15 over 3 per year. What do you make of that?
I would say that's more about right. I mean, his original report was nicely over 10 million. So I was like, I remember when we talked about this before, I was like, is that 12 million? Is that 13? Because if he's getting less than Ben Johnson in Chicago, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about a Super Bowl winning coach, a 2-time NFC champion. 15 million is about right. I thought he'd get a little bit more than that, but then when you factor in paying a guy like Jeff Stoutland coordinator money to be a position coach, and he's worth every penny, and paying a guy like Vic Fangio, who brings his resume to Philadelphia, the coaching money I'm sure gets spread out a little bit. So I wouldn't be shocked if Nick. Plus, he also doesn't. I mean, this isn't a knock. This is just an acknowledgement of responsibilities. He's not the guy calling the plays. He's not the guy running the offense. That's going to be his offensive coordinator for the foreseeable future. So, yeah, I would think 15 million is just about right.
Don't you think that Howie Roseman and what you just said, because you're dead on, Howie Roseman and Vic and Jeff Stoutland hurt his earning potential? Look, I'm not going to sit here and take a crap on 15 annually.
Right.
Okay. Not to make him the highest paid coach because of what he's done over the last 5 years. Don't you think? Because at the end of the day, doesn't Jeffrey Lurie have to go like this? Oh, wait a minute here. The guy who's really pulling all the strings here and doing everything and is really the orchestra of this guy, and he's the band leader, is Howie Roseman here. Howie's the guy. He puts the roster together. They help in finding the right assistant coaches for Nick, and they put that together. And then when you find Vic and you find Jeff Stoutland, I don't know. I mean, don't you think that he looks at it and goes, he's a top 5 guy, but he's not the top guy?
Yeah. I think they look at it as, and this includes Nick, this includes Sirianni, he looks at it as he realizes he's part of a very big, well-working, well-greased wheel. And he's not going to do anything to provide a bump in the road to throw that off its axis. So to me, I think that's smart of Nick Sirianni, realizing that he needs to live by his own quote of he can't be great without the greatness of others.
That's right.
To throw that back at him. And I think the organization realizes that as well. And I don't want to be in a situation like we've talked about Jalen Hurts before, and people hold it against him, the fact that he's in a stacked offense. I don't ever want to know what it's like when it's just got to be Jalen Hurts. I don't want to know that. I don't ever want to know what it's got to be like when it's just Nick Sirianni and there's no decent defensive coordinator. There's no good offensive coordinator. I don't want to know when it's both sides of the ball and it's all going to hell. I don't want to know that. I want to know that he's always going to be surrounded by talent. And if him not making as much as Andy Reid, let's say at 20 million, or him not making as much as Sean Payton, 17, 18 million, if that's what it's going to take, then that's what it's going to take. So I'm fine. I think they are handling everything with the Nick Sirianni contract well, other than, letting it leak out there a little bit earlier as to what exactly he'd be making on a per year basis.
You think they're going to release the numbers on Howie Roseman, or do you think that we'll find that out sometime during the middle of the season?
I've never known I don't think I've ever known what Howie's made. I
tried looking at all the GMs and I can't find it.
It's a lot tougher.
They don't really release that, the NFL.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I put it like this. When the Sirianni contract extension came out, well, actually before that, when Jeffrey Lurie was addressing everyone at the owners' meetings in Florida, I think they were in, but not the one where they decided to tush push before that, whatever. He was asked about Howie Roseman's contract.
West Palm.
Florida. It was West, thank you. He was asked about Howie Roseman's contract, and the answer was along the lines of like A, I'm going to tell you, and B, like I'd ever think about moving on from Howie again. Like I'd ever think about doing it. 3 Super Bowl rosters since he's retaken over the personnel, 2 Super Bowl championships. I don't think he's going to be sending Howie Roseman anywhere. And I think Howie also realizes the incredible pull that he has here with the blessing of Jeffrey Lurie at the extent that he has it. So I don't think we're ever going to find that number out, but I think Howie Roseman is very well taken care of when it comes to this organization.
I had Jason Cole on with me yesterday, a Hall of Fame voter, and I'm going to ask you this question here. How do you think a guy, and again, you're so great to talk to because you were in the middle of all this. You've seen so many different quarterbacks and so many different teams with the Eagles. Do you believe in this era here, McNabb would have won a Super Bowl with the talent that he has on this field, like that Jalen has? And let me ask you vice versa. You think Jalen would have won that Super Bowl in 2004 if he was the quarterback? That was a very limited team at the – now, T.O. was on that team. Okay, and you had Westbrook in the backfield, which one of my favorite football players, not just Eagle guys. Guy can catch the ball, run the ball. I mean, Mark, you could go down the line. He was one of the greatest playmakers the team has ever had. What do you think? Do you think if McNabb were on this team, he'd have won the Super Bowl between 22 and 24? No, why?
No. And the reason, look, if we're going to play Madden, yes, absolutely. He's going to win. But the mental aspect of the game and the approach was not there for Donovan McNabb. And those tough conversations that had to be had between A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts, they would not happen with Donovan McNabb because nobody was outshining Donovan McNabb.
Great take.
And talk look, I have all the respect in the world for Donovan, and I will absolutely talk about the beginning of his career, how me and everyone else in Philadelphia were just banging the drum for number 1 wide receiver. Get this guy some targets. Forget about Pinkston and Thrash, and get this guy somebody that can really help him, And it didn't happen. And then finally you got T.O., and it was great. And then Donovan didn't like the T.O., and that T.O. was the great hero, and T.O. came back from the broken leg to be the best player on the football field in the Super Bowl. But everyone, I think, that watched every snap of Donovan McNabb and really lived his career here in Philadelphia, he was never the guy that you felt hated losing as much as he loved winning. Like we want you to love winning, but you better hate losing more than you love winning. And that was never a thing with Donovan. It was always a thing where he had an ego. He tried to act like he didn't. I think talent-wise, absolutely. I think about surrounding him with this kind of talent, but then I also think, could he have had those tough moments? Could he have had those tough conversations? If you got to a Super Bowl again with him, and it's not like they weren't close. They were close many times, and many times he did not perform well. So it's weird. I look at Donovan. I look back on Donovan's career, and I think if you would have put Jalen Hurts back in that time, I still think he would have been a successful quarterback because I just don't think anything phases him. And I think he's always ready to learn. He's always ready to take that next step. He's willing to do what it takes to win. I don't ever doubt that with Jalen Hurts, but I doubted that with Donovan McNabb. And the fallout from the T.O. situation, I know, impacted my opinion of him greatly. And I know it also impacted a lot of people's opinion of him as far as his dedication to winning and the ability to have a selfless attitude about it.
This is a great conversation. So you think Donovan, tell me if I'm wrong here, you think Donovan would have treated AJ with his stuff on the sidelines and his dust-ups the same way he treated T.O., whereas Hurts would have handled Terrell Owens better in 2004, and he would have handled him more professionally than what McNabb, and there lies the difference in the two players, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll put it to you like this. With T.O., it was multiple quarterbacks that he had issues with. I mean, I'll never forget the Tony Romo, Jason Witten conspiracy of they're planning plays without me. Oh no, like, dude, come on, like, how paranoid can we be here? Okay, so T.O. had missed it with a couple different quarterbacks. Obviously, him and Jeff Garcia towards the end didn't really get along there in San Francisco, but when it comes to the moments you have as teammates, I mean, you played the game. You know, it's not all puppy dogs and ice cream, man. You know, it's not all rainbows here. You know, you have those tough conversations. I believe Jalen would have been more adaptive to it, and Donovan, as we know, did not handle it the best way. I don't think Jalen, like, and I go to this a lot during the season. I don't think Donovan would have just said, "Oh, Saquon Barkley's this great, just give him the ball." No, I think Donovan would have tried to insert himself in it a little bit and almost got in the way of what was making it so successful. I don't think Donovan would have been able to do that with Saquon. He was able to do it barely with T.O., but Donovan made it through the playoffs without him, made it to the Super Bowl, won the NFC Championship for the first time without him. But I don't think he would be able to step aside and let the greatness of Saquon Barkley happen. Because even if T.O.'s catching passes, that still makes Donovan look good because he's throwing the passes. It doesn't make Jalen Hurts look as good to hand Saquon the ball as many times as he did. So as far as T.O. goes and brush up with quarterbacks, it failed with many other quarterbacks, not just Donovan. So I can't fully put all of it on Donovan. But I do know that you would have gotten at least one more year out of T.O. here in Philly if the roles were reversed and Jalen Hurts was playing in 04-05.
We are brothers from another mother, brother. And I'm gonna tell you why here. I'm gonna make a comment here on Hurts, and you tell me if this fits the bill. When I look at Jalen Hurts, look, again, he's not Burrow, he's not Allen, he's not any of these. But then again, when I look at Tom Brady, he's not Aaron Rodgers, he's not Lamar Jackson. Those guys are the most gifted athletes I've ever seen play the quarterback position. But here's where he's maybe the best in the league right now. He's a great student of the game because of what you just said. He's also one of the hardest workers. And more importantly, he's one of the best teammates. What quarterback fit those dynamics? Tom Brady. Tom Brady was the greatest teammate outside of that lunatic Antonio Brown talking crap on him. Nobody else ever. Brady went out of his way. Brady was the best student of the game. Brady had to throw for 154 yards in a game. He didn't care, Mark. He would go, or if he had to throw for 500. You said something that's the most important thing. By the way, I think Jalen Hurts is intelligence. I think he's smarter than Lamar Jackson. I think he's smarter than Josh Allen because what you just said. Wait a minute here, man. So they're going to take the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands or Josh Allen's hands, and I got to be cool with that? Nowhere in the NFL, with the egos today and the salaries that you're making, are you going to go, hey, I'm okay with him having the spotlight. McNabb took a crap and took a shit on Deshaun Jackson because why? Remember, he made the Pro Bowl team at two different positions when he made it as a special teams guy and he made it as a wide receiver. He was asked a question at the Pro Bowl about that. And he goes, wow, that's a little overrated. That's your teammate. You're supposed to be backing him and congratulating him. Instead, it was like a competition. Dude, I don't think there's anybody in the league you could have walked into a room after a bye week and said, hey, you know what? We want you to throw the ball less.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think that's the intangible right there that separates him? Why that guy's winning is because he knows what winning looks like. Whereas some other quarterbacks just don't know. Like, I don't think Lamar knows what winning looks like. And I'm more talking about the postseason. Lamar's a better player. Yeah, but not when it counts. What separates him?
Absolutely. I was having a conversation with somebody out of market recently, a friend of mine, and they were like, oh, here goes, I forget what I forget the term they used for Jalen Hurts, but it was something along the lines of high school guidance counselor motivational poster. Like that was some kind of reference. Like, and I'm like, hey, look, I get that. I understand how from afar you're like, oh, rolling your eyes at quotes you're reading from Jalen Hurts, but the guy lives it. Like that is him. Like I know it might sound corny. It might sound like it's something off a motivational poster, But he really, like, if you roll your eyes at keep the main thing, then you're rolling your eyes at literally the thing that we ask every athlete to do, which is keep it all about the game. Keep it all about not just the game, but all about winning the game. Nothing else matters. You win, you're going to feel pretty good. Even if it's a bad win where you just eke it out at the end and you're lucky you won, it's still a win. But that's where he starts talking about the standard, where another cliche comes in there. We didn't play to our standard. That's fine. If you really believe it, then it's not cliche. It's not coach speak. It's not player speak. It's how you live. It's your habits. And that's how he plays the game. That's how he goes about his business. I mean, this is the thing I also responded to it with. I said, this is a guy that won the Super Bowl MVP. And then whatever it was, 48 hours later, he's at his locker at the NovaCare complex. And he's talking about, Sills, he's talking about how other quarterbacks are already weeks into their offseason regiment. He's behind and he's got to catch up to it now. He literally talked about the Super Bowl like it was an inconvenience to his training regimen.
And he's
like,
behind.
I'm behind now. I was winning that Super Bowl. Now that took up all that time. And now I got to catch up to everybody. It was like, and here's the thing. I never get the sense that it's a used car salesman. I never get that sense at all. This is literally how he's a very genuine dude. And even in my biggest fandom, because I was still in high school when Donovan was breaking into the league, even in my biggest fandom, there was always something about him that I went, there's just something off about this guy. And after the Super Bowl, after they lost,
he wasn't genuine.
I feel like this guy's trying to sell me something. With Jalen Hurts, I just feel like this is what the guy really is.
Yeah, when I think of Donovan McNabb, I think of phony ass LeBron. I mean, it's like when I see Steph Curry, I believe Steph Curry. Steph Curry to me, like when he hands a kid his shoes or whatever, he's talking to somebody, and he goes over, he just looks genuine when he's talking to his teammates. When LeBron does everything, I felt the same thing about McNabb. It just looked scripted that he had to force himself. Like, I don't think he really accepted being a leader very well. Whereas I think now Jalen's embracing it more.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the talk 2 off seasons ago was whether or not he was going to be more of a vocal leader. Actually, no, it was last off season. Yeah, it was before their Super Bowl year. Is he going to be enough of a vocal leader? Is he going to step up in that regard? Because you can't just be a lead by example guy. I remember the story. Quez Watkins was going to be, I think, elevated to the number 2 wide receiver. And Jalen Hurts sent him a text message like, hey, be ready, something like that. And I just remember thinking, like, I understand, the generation where texting is everything. DMs are everything. It's not necessarily one-on-one conversations. But when you're going to be around the guy anyway, like, you throw an arm around that guy, you'd be like, hey, look, this is the opportunity right here. We all got to take advantage of our opportunities. Not like just a text message like, hey, be ready. So that was kind of, I thought was curious. I was curious about that with Jalen Hurts. And then you see all the behind the scenes video that, by the way, we're going to see even more of with Hard Knocks and all that. But you see even more of the behind the scenes stuff this year of him being vocal, him being more of that vocal leader. Because I don't think there's any better way for him to lead by example than the way he leads by example. But when players actually hear it and not just see it, I think that drives the point home even further.
Couple last ones here for you, Farzy. What do you make of this? 2,127. That number, 2,127. You know what that is? That's the amount of carries that Saquon Barkley has had from Penn State, to his career and to his career in the NFL. 340 last year, and in the last 2 years, he's touching 600 carries. In your opinion, are you going to use the same recipe to make the same sauce and the same nice Italian meatballs? Are you going to go and make the great pasta fazool? Are you going to make the same thing that your grandma from way back in the old country? Or are you going to add a little bit of Farzy sauce? Are you going to try to screw that whole thing up? And when you put the sauce and the meatballs on the table, you go like this. Hey, did a Frenchman make this? I mean, are you gonna stick with the formula, or are you gonna add a little Farzy sauce?
A French meatball sounds like it's just lathered in butter. That's just terrible. No thanks, man.
Hey, you know what I'll use the French meatball for? Throwing them at somebody.
Batting practice?
Yeah.
No. So my biggest request from Kevin Patullo, like, we asked, what's Kevin Patullo going to do? If he's calling plays, what are you going to do? Well, it turns out that Nick Sirianni still had his hands in play calling a little bit. It turns out that Jalen Hurts had his hands in checking at the line of scrimmage, which, by the way, going back to the Donovan conversation, is something Donovan was never even allowed to do. So that's just one more thing. To go to the numbers with Saquon Barkley, in all of last year, including the postseason, 482 touches, Sills, last year. Wow. 482 touches in all of last year. I don't give a damn if they're like Derrick Henry runs or not, where he's getting hit every 2 seconds. I don't care. Or he's just running out of bounds. That's a heavy workload. So my request for Kevin Patullo and this new Patullo fingerprinted offense is, hey, I don't need Jalen Hurts to lead the league in passing. I stopped caring about passing yards when I was 13. Like, it just doesn't matter. It often just means you're behind. So I just want to see a middle of the road. We've talked about it. Fewest pass attempts in all the NFL. Bottom 3, I think it was, for the Eagles.
30.
Give me middle of the road. That's all I want. Give me a middle of the road in terms of usage, in terms of how much you depend on them. Be hopefully as efficient as you were last year, because Jalen Hurts was still tied his career high in passer rating, completion, set a personal best for completion percentage, yards per attempt. Like, the efficiency was great. A.J. Brown was still, I know he was at least top 10 in yards per reception, maybe even top 6 in yards per reception. Yeah, give me that efficiency, but let's lean on that passing game a little bit. And I think the number one person for that, other than Jalen Hurts and Kevin Patullo, is going to be Dallas Goedert. I would love to see Dallas Goedert become, I'll use the term, bell cow tight end.
Okay.
And stay healthy. That's going to be the number one thing. Stay healthy, but feed him the football. And guess what? He's going to want that ball, because if he has a phenomenal year and a huge if he stays healthy, you're talking about a guy that could win some more playoff games, potentially even win another Super Bowl, and then hit the free agency market. And imagine the bag of money, forget the bag, the Brinks truck that would back up to him.
Buffalo would be interested in somebody like him. How about this one? Why not the heir apparent to Travis Kelce for a couple of years? When Kelce calls it a career, he goes and plays with Mahomes. Yeah. And now you're talking about a higher volume of passes, because Andy used tight ends when he was in Philly. And obviously that's the main focal point of his attack that he has in Kansas City, is through that tight end position up the seam. So to me, I mean, Goddard, like you said, I mean, his issues, he doesn't suck. He's a top 10 guy.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't get utilized here as much. But you're saying if you're going to improve that offense, you want to go through the middle of the field, because if you're going to have any criticism of Hurts, they don't throw across the middle of the field. Mark, they're going either Y or Z. Z's the second guy, Y's the first guy. I mean, they don't come across the middle of the field.
Yeah, the only play with consistency that's not a slant to A.J. Brown is that rub route they run with Dallas Goedert. They got, I think it was 61 yards against the Saints with it.
Yep.
They used it a number of times. And, I mean, what that does, though, is it creates a wide-open tight end. It creates a wide-open Dallas Goedert. So you're throwing across the middle, but you can throw basically clear vision, unimpeded, and it's an easy completion to make. So, yeah, let me see a little bit more of that. Now, I want to be clear here. If the Eagles are trailing in the fourth quarter, I don't want to be like, well, we still got to pass it. No, you could still use – I still believe the greatest force in the NFL is Saquon Barkley behind this Jeff Stoutland line of scrimmage, or offensive line. That's the best weapon in the NFL. I thought it was Patrick Mahomes. Well, not anymore, apparently, according to the Super Bowl. So I would love to see the Eagles have a little bit more of an emphasis. Don't become a pass-happy team. Don't be even a pass-first team. Just lean on the passing game a little bit more than he did last year in order to spell Saquon Barkley for the postseason and make sure he is as healthy and as fresh as possible. Because I don't care who you are, 482 touches is incredible.
Unreal. All right, I want to read.
Oh, by the way, one last thing. I do one thing different than my Nona when it comes to my meatballs. I don't do the parsley. I do basil. I like the basil in there more than the parsley.
And you put the egg in there too, though, right?
Oh God! Come on! What am I, a barbarian? Come on!
And no, I just making sure it's not a French meatball or a Swedish meatball here.
Oh, God
Hey,
forbid.
how about this? God forbid. How about this one here, Farzy? You tell me if you think that this is a fair synopsis of Jalen Hurts. This is what Pro Football Focus wrote of him. Jalen Hurts' 2024 campaign, capped by an impressive Super Bowl run, was a return to form from a turbulent 2023 season. They said that a year earlier, Hurts too often pressed in high leverage moments and struggled under pressure. And when they were talking about the roster, they said the weakness on the football team was the passing game, and it fell at the feet of Jalen Hurts because he was one of the worst passers from the pocket, ranked 27th. Is that fair to you that I make this comment to Eagle fans and they cry? You guys played B football and killed people on offense. Can you imagine if you played the way you played against Kansas City every single week? You'd be undefeated. You were undefeated after the bye. Mm-hmm. And if you got that kind of performance that you got, I'm looking at glass half full. People are going like, well, look at what they did. I mean, they didn't live up to their ability. Do you believe that offense lived up to this skill set of players? You got the two best tackle tandem in football. You got one of the top 5 guards, according to PFF, and Landon Dickerson. You got a top 10 center and Cam. You got a back that's number 1. AJ's number 1. Smitty's number 13. You got a top 5 quarterback. You really think the 30th ranked passing game is living up to the expectations? And like I said, you killed teams. Mm-hmm. There's so much more room for improvement, don't you think?
Absolutely. But one of the things I find really interesting is that I thought Jalen Hurts last year sort of cracked the code. And this is where it gets back to selflessness. He was like, okay, hold on a second. If I just don't turn the football over, even if I eat a sack, for instance, and we lose 7-8 yards, whatever, I can live to fight another down as opposed to try to be a hero, which was 2 seasons ago a big knock on Jalen Hurts. He's too much like Carson Wentz. It's too much hero ball. Dude, just take the sack or throw the football away. Well, I think Levante David kind of put it in his head after that strip sack in Tampa at the end of that game that if I'm going to be in a phone booth, I can't reel back and let it fire. I'll just take the sack or try to escape the pocket. So I think he took more sacks that he could have avoided by throwing the football away, but instead of putting the precious pigskin in peril, he decided to just eat it, unfortunately. But his philosophy was, I don't care if I get sacked. I just can't turn the football over because guess what? Even if it goes, let's say Saquon Barkley is getting you 6 yards on the first touch, and then all of a sudden you lose 6 more yards, and you're back to, 2nd and 12 on that sack. You could still get another breakout run from Saquon Barkley. You could complete a pass to Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown. Next thing you know, you're at 3rd and short, and you could punch it ahead. You get push on a 4th and 1. So if I'm Jalen Hurts, I just play the safest brand of football I could play. I don't have to take that many risks. But the big question that was only answered on the biggest stage possible, which is when a defense like the Kansas City Chiefs shut down Saquon Barkley, can Jalen Hurts throw the ball? Oh, he threw it. He threw it to MVP level. He threw it with great accuracy, and he threw it absolutely the dagger to Devontae Smith down the middle of the field for that touchdown in the Super Bowl as well. So I think he answered those questions, but also last year, I think he cracked the code. Hold on. All I got to do is just not turn the football over, and we're that dominant in offense where we can still have success without me making the big play or making the big mistake. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick to that as often as possible. That is what's great about what's between the ears for Jalen Hurts.
Last question. I think, and you tell me if you disagree here, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to let Reed Blankenship play into the 2025 season, and they're not going to extend him. And they're going to extend him the same way if he comes back and plays his ass off. They're going to do exactly what they did to Zach Bond. Week or so before free agency starts, if this guy shows that, again, is that guy a $10 million a year guy? I mean, when I look at him, do I see Bates? Do I see Branch? Do I see Hamilton? Do I see that guy now? Again, too, Mark. Sometimes a guy's importance is in the building where his feet are. You know, I mean, he might not be that important in the Jets, just like Milton Williams. I think they're going to find out up there the definition of great players in Philly are versatile. You know, if they expect 11 sacks out of that guy, they're going to be very disappointed because that guy's not going to deliver that up there. So to me, is he more important in Philly? And do you see them going, okay, well, I'm going to pay $40 million, $35 million to Jalen Carter. I got to decide on what I'm going to do with an extension for Jordan Davis. Then I got to turn around. It's Nakobe. What if Nakobe comes back and plays well? Then you got an opportunity to sign Nolan Smith. Then you're going to go $10 million. You know, I know the cap is going up. Voidable years are there. But, Mark, I mean, you can't pay everybody. Is Reed Blankenship a casualty of all the money that's going to be potentially paid on that side of the ball? I mean, do you think he's a $10 million a year safety?
Look, his game clinching ability is his greatest attribute, to make sure he's in the right place at the right time to get those last second interceptions and just talk about the term dagger, put the nail in the coffin rather of the opposing team with those game sealing picks. But I don't think he's a $10 million a year guy. I think the Eagles have big plans for Drew Makuba in the future. I do think they like Sidney Brown. They don't love Sidney Brown. I don't think Sidney Brown has turned that corner as far as being able to harness that heat-seeking missile attitude that he has and the way he goes about it. But I do know they love Drew Makuba. I still think that they're going to pay maybe a 1 year, $8 million, 1 year, $7 million for a guy like Justin Simmons still to have a reunion with Vic Fangio and then let him walk after that. But I do also think that the most of the money that they have, the $27 million when it comes to the cap, you mentioned it going up. Well, it's going to go up with a lot of rollover too, to make sure that they're taking care of Jordan Davis in the event that he really does have a complete breakout season. Obviously, Jalen Carter down the line. That's where I think a lot of that money is going to go, because when we follow the Eagles, we know that they spend money in the trenches and at corner. What I'm very curious to see, they've spent money in the past at safety, but I think that money now is being allocated to Zach Bond in the linebacker spot. Well, at least as long as Vic Fangio is your defensive coordinator. So I think the shift we're going to see in the world we have to get used to now with the Eagles, where a running back's being paid and a linebacker is being paid, is a shift away from potentially paying a safety like Reed Blankenship.
Yeah, I'm just a little concerned about, Cooper DeJean there at the shore over at Ocean City and down over in Wildwood. This guy's gunning shots, hanging out with strippers, and he's just, this guy here, man. This guy's he's like the new hero. I love the guy. You talk about, I'm going to start calling him Cooper Seahorn. Remember Jason Seahorn? I'm going to go Seahorn. Hey, by the way, them putting him out there at corner, do you hear what they're doing out there? Farzi, they're talking about playing him at corner, and then first and second down, they're talking about playing him at safety. Hey, I like that idea.
So put it this way. Quinyon Mitchell played like 93, 94% of the snaps last year defensively. Cooper DeJean, 63% of the snaps he was eligible for, he played. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that jump up there a little bit. You're talking about 160 snaps base defense you really didn't see Cooper DeJean for last year. I'd like to see him out as much as possible. And here's the thing. In all sports, not just football, I like to classify who's a whatever guy. Now, what's a whatever guy? A whatever guy to me is, hey, you're going to play safety today. Okay, whatever. And then they go out there and they crush at safety. Oh, you're going to play corner today. All right, well, whatever. And they go out there and they crush at that position. Oh, you're going to be in the slot today. All right, yeah, whatever. Like guys like that are just players that look at themselves as weapons. I love those guys because, as you know, in every single sport, the more versatile you are, any walk of life, the more versatile you are, the more beneficial you are to a company or, in this case, franchise. So for me, I love that. And he absolutely, to me, seems to be the type of guy that's just like, where you need me? Okay, whatever. And then he goes out there. And as far as anything off the football field, that man's got life by the bulls right now. So by the bull. More so than a pass from Patrick Mahomes, he's got life by the bulls right now. Sir, so man, you live your life, young buck. You have yourself a good time.
Absolutely, man. This guy's hanging him up there with them matzo balls of his, man. I'm with you there. Hey, I'll say this to you too. No question. I'm happy for him, man, because this kid's really making an impact in Philadelphia. All right. So Farzi, are you a squid guy? I love squid.
Calamari, scungili, absolutely.
Oh God, how do you make your scungil?
Generally speaking, if it's like Christmas Eve, I'll do the grilled and I'll do it in the marinara. Like
Grilled.
yeah, I'll do it like that. I'll do very rarely will I make it fried. If I'm in a restaurant or something like that, I'll get it fried or I'll get it, order fried calamari. And then the most special way we do it, our cousin Linda is an excellent cook. She actually got a website. If I could plug it, Chow Linda. Chow Linda. Yeah.
Okay.
Chow as in I think it's CIAO and then CHOW. Chow Linda. She got a great food blog. She's a great cook. She introduced me, my dad and I, to this recipe of a stuffed calamari. Before you ring it, before you cut it, you just stuff the tube with crab meat, whatever you like, and oh my God, fantastic!
I'm going to give you
Absolutely
a recipe I want you to try one day. Get it. Get some scungil. Cut them up. It's my favorite dish next to lobster.
Okay.
Cut them up very thin. Get some parsley. Okay, parsley in there. Get lemon. Have a little bit of salt. Put that in there. You get that lemon in there. Get the parsley in there. You drop the scungil in. You move them around in there. Let them sit in the refrigerator. Let them chill. My mouth is watering. I grew up on that. My grandpa was a fisherman. My pop didn't speak. Like he spoke a little English when I was younger. He spoke more as I got older. 50% of the time he spoke at that. This is all we ate. We ate scungils. We ate what was it? Flounder. We had scungil. That's what I grew up on. Dude, that is the best dish people don't make it like that. And I'm promising you, you will fall in love with this.
Yeah, I'm picturing like a seafood. It's like I hate to use the Metagon term, but like seafood salad, something like that.
Yeah, it's exactly. If you want to drop some salad in there like that, some romaine lettuce in there, man, that would be good too. Or you could put it over. Dude, it is. Mike grew up on that. My grandparents gave me that. And man, I'll tell you, I'd rather eat that than lobster. I mean, and I love Maine lobster, but I'll tell you, man, I love scungil. I am a massive. It's so expensive today, though, too, especially if you buy it in the can. Not that I want to get it in the can. I want to get it out of the Atlantic Fish Market where I'm from, so we're all good. I got it. Farzi, absolutely have a great weekend, my friend. Next week, it's the last dress rehearsal on June 13th, I believe, and then we got July, probably 21st because they got that Thursday game. They're probably going to show up to training camp sooner. Here we are, man. Didn't this offseason go fast?
I mean, hey, when you're playing in early February and you have a parade in mid-February, that offseason can go as fast as possible. I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it one bit.
Absolutely. Mark, thank you for all the time, man. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend, my friend.
You too, my friend. Take it easy.
You got it. Mark Farzetta, make sure you check him out and check his show out. He starts the broadcast each and every single day here with us here on JAKIB. Yeah, let me see here, man. I didn't give him the right one because PFF spoke a little kinder when it came to the ranking of the quarterbacks. But when it came to ranking of the rosters, not a very good endorsement on Jalen. But that's all right. Hey, he's a world champ. Oh, I forgot to ask him about Devontae. I will text him that. I forgot to ask him that. Okay? All right. Hey, my friends, don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. The number one injury law firm in all of America. I talk to John every day. He so enjoys coming on the program here. Mr. Bolin, who is our crime fighter in Philadelphia, he loves watching this show. How you doing, my friend? We appreciate you guys so much. Again, Morgan & Morgan is number one an injury law firm in America because they win. They go from coast to coast with thousands of attorneys making sure families get their justice and making sure that insurance companies do not take advantage of you. If you're ever injured, do me a favor. Log on to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. Guys, I need you to do this. Just Log on, click it, and click again, forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529 and do me a favor. You tell them Big Sill sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
I got a guy on my Twitter page that says he wants to fight me. Okay? I got a guy who is sitting there and he's trying to tell me that he wants to fight me here. Okay, yeah, that's he wants to sit there and he wants to fight me. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Okay? You can't make this stuff up here. You just can't. It's absolutely awesome. I mean, yeah, okay? Come on, dog. Are you really kidding me here? Okay? This guy wants to sit here and because he doesn't like my takes. Okay? He doesn't like some of the things that I'm saying here. It's all right. Hey, all good. Don't worry, man. Hey, listen, it's only sports, dude. It is only sports. Okay? Only sports. Great. Appreciate everybody coming to ball. Sills great. Hey, I know. We're only talking sports here. Why are you upset? Is it some of the things that Big Sill says here? that gets you really upset like that? Oh, my God. That's great stuff here, man. Absolutely awesome. Hey, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. You guys are absolutely great. We can't thank you guys enough. So make sure you hit the like button. Okay? Again, we love the fact that you guys come here each and every single day. I hope every single one of you guys get an opportunity, okay, that get an opportunity to this weekend. Make sure you celebrate and you get a chance to go out there and thank our veterans out there, and make sure you guys absolutely go out there and thank each and every single one of them. Okay? And we appreciate that so much. So go out there and make sure you do that. Thank you so much, my friends. All right. Hit that like button. I do want to ask you something here. Okay? I do want to ask you something. So last year, Aaron Rodgers, he threw for 3,897 yards, 28 touchdowns, 11 picks, had a 90 quarterback rating on the shittiest team maybe in the NFL. 584 attempts, 368 completions. I mean, this guy had more completions than Hurts had attempts. Again, that quarterback had to try to carry that crappy team. This is another example. Again, this is not a rip. This is absolutely a luxury. This is a superstar luxury that you have here. Okay? It's a superstar luxury that you get where your quarterback doesn't have to play great each and every single week. He just doesn't. It's fabulous. I mean, this guy had a bad season and still threw for 28 touchdowns. Now, this is a great call here. Okay? Let's see what Tomlin does. Does Mike Tomlin get the best out of Aaron Rodgers? Does he? Does he still have anything left? Hey, by the way, Xander, we may have missed some super chats here. Stills, me and my buddies got money bets. How many games he will win? I think you're saying that this year. I think they have a shot, the Steelers, to win maybe 11 games. Maybe 11. I think they got an opportunity to potentially win 11 ball games. I mean, would we not? Right? A chance to win 11 ball games? I don't know. I think they can. Now, the big question will be, do you think that that team has enough to compete in the AFC? That I don't know. Okay? That I do not know if they have enough to compete in the AFC. Okay? I don't know that. So maybe they do, maybe they don't. But we're going to find out here. Let's see. New York sports run 200 miles a month for Virginia, 10K. Very good, Kimberly. I appreciate it. All right. Hit that like button, guys. I appreciate it. I want to throw this at you here. Let's see here. Leon Super Chat. Here we go. Guys, I appreciate all you guys here today. Thank you so much. Like this, if you think Angelo dog walks Eskin, comment. If you think Eskin wins, must see TV. Philly 500 going to destroy Mark again. Leon, who wins that battle royale between Howard Eskin or Angelo Cataldi? Who wins that? Who wins it? Cataldi or Eskin? What are the questions? How about if you ask them? How about if you ask them? How about if you ask him? What would be a question that you would ask? You guys, how about this? You guys submit questions. Xander, I got it. We're just looking to figure out a day here where we're gonna do this. Both guys have agreed to come on the program. We just got to figure this out when. Angelo's already said yes. Eskin has said yes too. Okay? You owe me a wrench for the idea cells. Mikey, Jesus criminy. Mikey, I don't handle the wrenches. Are you kidding me? Xander would never trust me with a wrench. I mean, dude, I could barely log on. Are you crazy? Trusting me with anything when it comes to the internet, YouTube, what have you? I have no idea what I'm doing. I want to fight you, this guy here says. He's got 311 followers. We'll see. I want to fight you. Man, do I really bring the worst out of you? So let me throw this at you here. Here, where is this? All right. I love this Friday. Today was good, man. Today having some fun. Seals, here's one. Who's the bigger stiff, Hurts or Sirianni? Oh man. Who's the bigger stiff? Sirianni or Hurts? I'm going Sirianni on that one. And speaking of that, CBS came out with the Coach of the Year candidates. Here are the Coach of the Year candidates. According to CBS Sports. I love these topics that I have nothing to do with. This has got nothing to do with me. Okay? This has zero to do with me. Nothing. I didn't write this. CBS Sports did. These are the people that wrote this, okay? Hold on here. Let me take a look at this here. Yeah, these are the people. All right. Number 1. Ben Johnson is the favorite to win the NFL Coach of the Year. Number 2, from the New England Patriots, Mike Vrabel. Number 3, from the Los Angeles Chargers. Remember what we were talking about earlier? Why I think the Chargers are going to win the NFC or the AFC West is because Harbaugh is a better coach than you think. Name me a place he hasn't won at. Name me a place he hasn't turned around. You know, here's the difference between Jim Harbaugh and Nick Sirianni. He creates cultures. He changes dynamics. They win in shitty places. Nick rolled into one. I mean, Nick didn't change the culture of the Philadelphia Eagles. He became part of it. That's not who that guy is. Jim Harbaugh went to the University of San Diego, where they don't have scholarships, and won. Guy goes to Stanford and wins. Guy went to the 49ers, where they were just, hey, Niner all day. Tell these folks, prior to Jim Harbaugh showing up, the 49ers stunk. You had to go all the way back to Bill Walsh before they were really great. This guy turned the entire franchise around, made it to a Super Bowl. When he left the game, he was 49-19-1. Then he goes to a place that had not won a national title in 80 years at Michigan. Wins the title there. Now in his first year, you got the Chargers turning it around, and he's going to turn Justin Herbert around. That guy is a great coach. He's a great play caller. He's a great evaluator of talent. By the way, Jim Harbaugh picks the talent. Howie doesn't. Jim Harbaugh calls the plays. Howie does, or Nick doesn't. Nick has nowhere near the job Jim Harbaugh has. It's not even remotely close. So when you talk to me about who's a better coach, shit, his job title's more. Jim Harbaugh calls plays. That's like somebody saying Dan Quinn doesn't call the defenses in Washington, or that D'Amico Ryans doesn't call plays for defense in Houston. Stupid. Totally's a play caller. That's right. Look at this guy here. You're full of shit. Okay? He's a play caller. How you doing? Number 4, Pete Carroll. Wow, he's the 4th favorite guy to win. This ain't my list. Okay? To win the Coach of the Year. Number 5, Liam Cohen, Jackson. Number 6, Dave Canales. What? Hey, I'll tell you what. I won't lie. Okay? I won't lie. I think that guy did a heck of a job in the second half I think that guy did a great job in the second half of the year. I totally do. I think he did a whale of a job. And when you look at what that guy brought to the table, okay, I think this guy brought an absolutely sensational job here when it came to what he's doing with the quarterback there. So I'm good with that. Liam Cohen at 5. I didn't like the way he exited Tampa as the coordinator. Okay. Number 7, Sean Payton. This is the NFL Coach of the Year, according to CBS. Favorites to win it. Number 7, Sean Payton, as we said. Number 8, Mike McDaniel, the guy, McDonald, the guy up in Minnesota who won it a year ago. Number 9, Matt LaFleur. And number 10, Dan Quinn. Where's Nick on here? That guy gets no respect. He gets absolutely no respect when it comes to Coach of the Year or anything. Why not? Why do you think that is? That he gets no respect for that? Why doesn't he get the respect he needs? Shit, you do. You gave him a $15 million annual deal. Get this. Let them win their Coach of the Year. Who cares? Nick will be wearing another Super Bowl ring. How you doing? Hey, Matthew, whatever. Most replaceable guy in the Philadelphia Eagle locker room is that dude. You kidding me? Nick is again, he's George Seifert. You're part of the no respect crew when it comes to Nick. I'm not going to say I don't respect him. I do. He's a great politician. He's better than some of the politicians we have in Washington. He knows how to play the game. Unlike Doug wouldn't bend, and Nick bends his knee. He doesn't fight for his players. He never does. How can you guys tell me that a guy fights for players when he doesn't fight for his coaches or he doesn't fight for players? Give me an example of that. I can give you an example where he tells me how great he loves Dallas Goedert, and then he is part of the whole crew that makes Dallas Goedert take a pay cut. That's respect. Does he fight for Sean Desai? No. Does he fight for the coordinator he got fired? No. Why would he? Because he's a great corporate guy. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you keep your gig. Dan really doesn't understand, Nick. I understand NFL head coaches more than you ever will. I've been around a hell of a lot more of them than you have. I can promise you that. Nick's better than Jimmy Johnson. Name me one thing he does better than Jimmy. Jimmy handpicked his entire staff and the entire roster. Everybody on that Cowboy team was handpicked by him. No one else. The coaches coached. Every coach was at when I was there. Every one of them. So you can't say Jerry hired him. Name me one thing that Nick Sirianni does better than Jimmy Johnson. One thing. And he cut contracts with him. One thing. One thing that he does better. And Jimmy won at both levels. One thing Nick does better. One thing. Better than Jimmy Johnson, who's been on his program numerous times. Can you? I wouldn't be throwing that guy's name around. Rest of the league was trash, including your Eagles. That's right, nothing. Jimmy picks the team. Jimmy coaches the players. Jimmy drafts the players. Jimmy cut contracts with players. Nick does none of that. Nick was – do you understand what Jimmy was? Jimmy Johnson was Jimmy Johnson and Howie Roseman in the same time. He was two people in one. That's why he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's who that guy was. No, well, here, Sue. He fits what they're doing in today's NFL. Okay, get this. This guy says no salary cap. What about the fact he hired all the assistant coaches himself? What about the fact that he drafted all the players himself? And he rarely missed. And he created the value chart. Neither does Nick. There's nothing that guy does. Except this. You know what he does better than Jimmy? He kisses ass better. Jimmy got himself fired. Absolutely. Jimmy got himself fired. The one thing that Nick Sirianni does better as a coach than Jimmy, he kisses ass better. Jimmy and Jerry are still arguing. I mean, yes, I figured it out. The one thing he does better, he kisses ass more. Let's see here. I'm with Angelo on that one. Still's the only Nick you can argue over Jimmy Johnson is Saban. No way. Saban's not a better coach than Jimmy. Where? Jimmy won national titles in the Super Bowl. Nick won national titles and failed as an NFL head coach. How is he better? There wasn't a level. Jimmy won a national title as a player. He won a national title as a college coach. And he won a Super Bowl in the NFL. How's Nick better? Where'd you get that from? Nick tried it, and I think Nick would have been a good coach if he would have stuck to it. I think he would have been a better. I remember something. Xander, you know this. The one fact and the reason why Nick Saban failed in the NFL. By the way, he was 2-1 versus Belichick being the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. The one reason that he failed was because he took Dante Culpepper instead of Drew Brees. That's where the whole thing went south because Dante Culpepper never turned out to be that guy. Okay? He just never turned out to be that dude. Yeah, that's just never that guy. All right. Hit the like button here, guys. By the way, Nick is great at what he's doing now. He is carved himself the absolute. When I look at Nick Sirianni, he's more of a what would I say about that? That's a fair comment too, dude. When I look at Nick, he is a modern day NFL head coach with the NFL. Jimmy didn't have to deal with anybody. Jimmy was his own king. He didn't have to answer to anybody, and when he did, he got fired. Nick doesn't want to get fired. He wants to continue to win. He enjoys coaching the team, and I'm not really banging on that. But comparing him to coaches that build organizations, he's so far removed from that. He's not even in the same conversation. He doesn't build coaching staffs. He manages things that they put in front of him. I think he does a pretty good. I think he's growing into it. I think he's growing into being able to understand the role that he's been playing. You know what's funny? When I look at Nick and I look at him, and I look at Jalen Hurts, they're kind of the same guy. They created a great role for Jalen, and they created a great role for Nick Sirianni, and both are excelling. It's not a rip. Nick's been a head coach for 3 years and a coordinator for 3 years, and I didn't get this. Who compared him? I didn't compare him. Someone else did. Why don't you kind of like stay in line with us here? I compared him. This guy's saying I compared him. I did it. Someone else threw that out and said that Nick was better than Jimmy. Jimmy had a football team that was 1-15. 3 years later, they won the Super Bowl with a team he single-handedly built. The Dallas Cowboys, prior to Jimmy showing up, had 4 wins, 5 wins, 6 wins, 8 wins. When he got there, they went 1-15. Changed the entire land. He won more Super Bowls in a 5-year window than Tom Landry did in 30, or as many. Okay? Like once again, this guy's posting stupid shit here. I didn't compare him. He does a great job at Devin. Nick, the reason why he doesn't get respect, in my opinion, well, I'll take that back. The reason why he doesn't get media people and others in the NFL that have, I'll take that back too, because I do think other people in the NFL do respect him. I'll tell you this, being a head coach in Philly is hard. Because you got a lot of people's asses you got to make sure it don't go sideways. The owner and the general manager. You know, there's quite a talent there to that. I'll say this to you. Would you not agree? Get this. I didn't compare them. So thank you for the 10 months, though. Not gonna have a conversation with something I didn't say. Let's see. 4 years as head coach, okay. I didn't compare him. This man keeps saying 3. Okay, 4 years, sure, okay. How scary was Jimmy Johnson? Because on Fox he seemed so chill. Samuel, I say this all the time. That's not the same dude I knew. And when that guy was in a locker room and he walked in, it got quiet. Maybe that's it a little bit. Maybe I'm so like old school with it that when Johnson walked into a room, the whole room got silent. Because he could demote you, he could fire you, he could embrace you. He could say, I want to see you in my office. And you didn't want to have that. That guy you see on TV is so not the same dude. Seriously, didn't matter if it was Jerome Brown, Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders. It just didn't matter. If Jimmy walked into a room, the whole room got quiet. Everybody would sit there. They'd put their head down because they didn't want him coming over to you. And when he did come over to you and he was talking to you great, let me tell you something. When Jimmy put his hand on your shoulder and he was talking good things to you, man, that guy motivated you to run through a wall. He made C students B students and B students A students. Or he would fire you. Didn't he cut a backup linebacker in team meetings for falling asleep? Yeah. Somebody asked him a question. Troy Aikman. If Troy Aikman falls asleep in a meeting, he's going to go over and wake him up. If another dude falls asleep and that guy is a third team linebacker, he's going to cut him right there. That's exactly how he was. There's no mercy. You know, it's funny. When I walked into Dallas, I was telling you about Tom Rafferty passing away. God rest his soul. When Jimmy walked in, and that guy walked into a room, and everybody around him, you would know immediately when he first initially walked in. All the players that were on the Cowboys, like Randy White, Ed Jones, Tom Rafferty, they all came up to me and Michael Irvin and go, "What's he like?" I'm like, "I'll just tell you this, man. This guy's got no favorites." Well, he does. But that's not going to jade his conversation. Like, Brandon Graham would not be a favorite of his. He doesn't care about that. Can you play? Are you one of his guys? Now, he loved Ed Jones because Ed worked hard. All about hard work. You work hard, you show up on time. And his on time was 35 minutes prior. Like, if you showed up to a bus 15 minutes before they were to take off, in his eyes, you were late. So we got that message early. If the bus was taking off at noon, you were there at 11 because you did not want to miss those guys taking off or him not allowing you on the bus. Okay? What does it matter what you let go? Who are you? I'm not sure what that is. Jimmy made that Herschel Walker deal and made the Cowboys. Charlie, I've told the story before. Dave Wannstedt, who's been on the program, they went on one of their legendary runs. Every single day, Jimmy Johnson would go on a run, and he would demand that his coaching staff would go with him. And they would talk about personnel changes or personnel and roster, whether it was in college. Gotcha, Dank. Whether it was college or whether it was the pros, Jimmy would go on these runs. Dave told the story here. Jimmy's on the run. Dave comes up to him and Jimmy goes, "I think I'm trading Walker." This guy just came off a 1,500-yard year. He had 800 yards receiving, and he was the best player on the team. I love Herschel Walker. Herschel's been on our he's been on our network. Okay? And he is a great guy, and I loved him as a teammate. And he goes, "I'm trading Walker." He had a deal in place with Cleveland. They were sending Herschel Walker to Cleveland. And Jimmy had a deal. All of a sudden, Minnesota parachutes in. Jimmy Johnson had a deal. Get this, guys. This is seriously how he built the Cowboys. So he got third-round picks. Hey, Kyle, do me a favor. Write down the picks that he got for that Herschel Walker trade. There were like 7 of them. But they were players. Back in the day, Jimmy traded for players. But if they didn't make the roster, they turned into third-round picks, fourth-round picks, fifth-round picks, sixth-round picks. Every single football player that was ever in that trade. Never played it down for the Dallas Cowboys. Jimmy didn't want the players. He wanted the picks. There were like 8 players involved. Jimmy said, no, I don't want the players. I want the draft picks. Hence the Cowboys were made. And then that guy started looking. Why did Jimmy Johnson have an advantage? Yeah, why do you think Jimmy had the advantage in scouting over every single coach in the NFL? Why do you think he had the advantage? I'm not talking really about the Cowboys. I'm talking about a guy building a championship team. Get this. Jimmy got off the Herschel Walker deal, 3 first-round picks, 2 seconds, and a third. Most of those were players. He goes, I don't want the players. He had recruited from coast to coast. He knew who the great players and where they were. So when those guys didn't come to Miami, or they went to Florida State, or they went to Ohio State or Michigan or Alabama or Auburn, he knew who those kids were. He knew through his talent evaluators, which were the best on the planet. Butch Davis was one of the greatest talent evaluators in the history of college football. I mean, he recruited Ed Reed. He recruited Warren Sapp. He recruited Sean Taylor. He recruited Clinton Portis. He recruited Edgerrin James. Butch was a maniac in finding talent. Okay? Picks included Minnesota's first, second, 6th round picks in 90. First and second round picks in 91. In a first and second, look at that. And 3rd round picks in 92. The deal also included conditional. They're the Cowboys are made. That's Howie Roseman stuff. Jimmy was Howie Roseman and Bill Parcells in the same dude. He made the value chart. You give Johnson credit, but not Barry Switzer. Interesting. Well, I'll tell you the story. Barry Switzer. By the way, Jeff, you must be new to the program because Barry Switzer was on the show and he told the story of why he won a Super Bowl. And if you go back, you can watch it right here on JAKIB, right, Xander? Barry Switzer's a friend of mine. I almost played for him. And he came on and I go, Coach, how did that whole thing work? He walked in right after they fired Jimmy. He sat down because he coached Jerry Jones at Arkansas and Jimmy Johnson on the freshman team because Barry's an Arkansas guy. And he walked in and he sat down, Jeff, and he looked over at Jerry Jones and he goes, where's Jimmy? He goes, Barry, Jimmy's gone. And then, guys, right? What did he say here? How could you fuck this up? And Jerry's like, Barry, we're here to talk about you. He goes, but how could you fuck this up? He said it right here. So sounds to me like Barry did the right thing by not touching anything when he got the job. He said, I'm not messing with nothing. I'm going to do exactly what Jimmy did. I'm going to let the team roll. We're not changing nothing. And he didn't. He let same assistant coaches were there. Same philosophy. They didn't change any coordinators. He didn't bring any coach in. He kept the thing intact. You know how most coaches want to bring new guys? Nope. Barry kept everybody in the wood. He said, hey, no, we're not changing nothing. Okay. Seals, do the Eagles have a playoff rival? 49ers, Cowboys did the 3 NFC championships in a row in the Packers. Do they have a rival, the Eagles? Right now, the Eagles' rival or the Eagles. There's no rival in the NFC right now. They're beating you in the boardroom, they're beating you in the draft room, and they're beating you on the field. I mean, who's doing that? Kansas City? Okay. I mean, who else is doing that? If the Eagle were to trade Barkley, I would want those picks, and I would want it to look like that. If you traded Saquon Barkley right now, you're not getting that. People learned their lesson from that draft pick. And running backs were more valuable then. Okay? Running backs aren't as valuable in some eyes today. Barkley and Henry aren't. But remember something. You signed Barkley for, what was it, $8-9 million? And Derrick Henry signed for like what, $7 million? They ended up getting contract extensions and they made them higher paid guys because they were more vital. But still, I mean, if you think about it, of all your skilled players, Barkley's still the lowest paid guy. Dallas Goedert makes more. I mean, right? Dallas Goedert makes more. Okay, Sills, I'll give you that, but what do you say to Jerry with Dave Campo and Quincy Carter experiment? One of the worst and awful times. You know, we've had on here Stephen Jones. We should get him on again. I haven't had him on in a while. And he said it right here on this program. Worst decision he ever made was the Quincy Carter stuff. They were not prepared quarterback-wise after Aikman. Same stuff we talk about with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's not prepared. I mean, a 41-year-old guy in Aaron Rodgers, that's not going to cut it. Okay? That's not. Look, I'm going to say it again. I'll do this to you. I'll do this for you here. I think Nick Sirianni is I think he's rolling into this job. And I think he's their perfect coach. Just like Jalen is their perfect quarterback. It's all fitting. And that comes from the owner and the GM. It's the best combo that you have in the league right now. All right. Guys, do me a favor. Please check out my great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason. That is because they win. Coast to coast, thousands of attorneys across the country make sure families get their justice when it comes to insurance companies taking advantage of families. If you're ever injured, please do me that favor and check out our friends at forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. I always thought Bill Parcells was overrated. I did. I thought he was overrated. Did he ever win a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick? No. What exactly did he do more than Tom Coughlin in New York? Was he a better coach than Tom Coughlin in New York? What did he do? Tom Coughlin won 2 Super Bowls too. Tom Coughlin actually had a higher win percentage than Bill Parcells. Parcells didn't draft Lawrence Taylor. Parcells didn't draft Phil Simms. Parcells didn't hire Belichick. I mean, exactly where am I? Now, I think he's a good motivator, and I think he's like a really good players coach. But at the end of the day, I mean, do I think that guy is a better coach than Tom Coughlin? I just think in perception. Tom won more. Tom won as many Super Bowls in New York. And I think Tom did a great job. And he's underrated in that city. But they look at Parcells because he's great in front of the media. I mean, I just, again, and then when I thought he did a better job potentially up in New England. Tom Coughlin was on that coaching staff. That's a great call. He was on Parcells' coaching staff. That's right. Yeah, no, Tom Coughlin's a heck of a coach, man. And he's an underrated guy. And again, I mean, he's the guy that built that offense. He's the guy that, Jerry Reese and him really did a nice job, man. I mean, he was an old school type coach for sure, and how he approached. No getting around it. All right. So next week, dress rehearsal, the last one is June 13th. And then here we are, man. After next Friday, you're talking about teeing it up probably July 21. And you're talking getting ready. We're right here. Then you got the Hall of Fame game. I forget what date that thing is. And that thing's right around the corner here. Have a great weekend. We so appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. We will see you Monday, 2 to 6, and we'll see you on the flip side.